And a warm welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the platforms of the GSRC in this second week of competition. We continue here on a Wednesday night with the return, first up, of course, of the merch.tgsrci.com TransAm series, and continuing a bit of the American flavour which has pervades this series. It actually kicks off here tonight, I should say, pardon me. We head to the inlands of Florida and the airfields of Sebring International Raceway, which, as you can see right now here on the screen, is a hive of activity. Qualifying is just about to hit a wrap-up here for this week's format, which has been revised after the opening round of racing last time out at the Red Bull Ring, and therefore we'll get a chance to talk about and show it to you all here in just a couple of moments. Thank you all for joining us here tonight, whether it is live, whether it is on replay afterwards. My name is Daniel Yeaman, and joining me here tonight once again will be Matt Schmicky on the production for this season once again to kick things off in the opening days. And as you can see here, now that we've crossed over into the race session here, looking at stats, facts, and some conditions with the circuit. Full international course layout means it is 5.76 kilometers. It's long circuit, don't be wrong with that. We'll talk about that in qualifying times, but critically today, with the in-sim settings, it is a hot track, 30 degrees Celsius air temperature, and I'm seeing 40 degrees Celsius for the track temperature now that we've loaded into the race sessions. So, going to be spicy out there tonight, I do suspect. And with that all said and done, that's what it looks like out there at the circuit. Drivers are queuing up for an abbreviated rolling start on the backstretch. Let's go to the grid now with your qualifying results. And Lachlan Capel makes it 2 from 2 in the qualifying sessions to put itself on pole, but by 0.5 of a second, it is to Jackson Rehana who takes his first front row spot of the season. Brad Rd-2 out of P3 was sharing a second row with Andrew Dyson there. Another good qualifying result for the DPR 000. Ben Woods, Chris Noble on row 3, Ryan Jones, Braden Sagassa for fourth row. You can see times rapidly dropped off here. Open qualifying this week, made things a little different. And Lane Thoburn, Adam Funslow to round out your top 10 there in our first part of the field. Jeff Adams and James Glasspool will roll off of the 6th row tonight. David Baz and Angus Cook on the 7th. Adam Lavis and Richard Brookfield on the 8th. Sean Benici, Craig Roffey on the 9th row. And as you can see, we get to Sam Stride and Tom Wilkinson to round out the top half or so of this field. 20 out of 34, I should say. So just crossed over it a little earlier. Dal Sharp will start from P21. He's got Michael Brennan to his outside for Summit Sim Sports in 22nd. Greg Colgan and Martin Davis on the 12th row to kick things off in this first race tonight. Eduardo Zamora and Edward Rollo for the 13th row. Daniel Correa-Sarr and Mark Hilly will share the 14th row. John Merritt and Reese Goldfinch at the 15th. You can see there Correa-Sarr, last driver to set a qualifying time. Tony Roffey, Clayton Smith, Adam Richo Richards and Darren Lobb round out our 34 drivers on the grid here tonight. So 27 at the time, 34 in total, as they begin the roll into Sunset Bend to take the race start. The big thing here tonight, we have 2 races for the Trans Am series rather than the one we saw last time out. So get ready for a 15-minute sprint followed by a 25-minute feature, and they've reduced the tank sizes even more, so we can expect to see some pit stop action in race number 2 here. But we're underway for the opening sprint at Sebring International, and Capel gets the jump. There's contact though between Rd-2 and Dyson at the start of the race. They survive, well, they crash, but fall back to the field. I think everyone else gets around them without too much hassle. As into the first turn we will go. Bit of elbows out, up and down the field as we try and sort this one out. As you can see here, though, Capel at the front of the field has a couple of car lengths as we work our way through this opening sector of the circuit. Try and get themselves into a bit of rhythm. Ryan Jones has just cut the circuit through turns 3, 4, 5, and has a slowdown left to clear to his name right off the bat. So we'll see if he drops any more spots out of the top 5 off this one here. And down into the hairpin for the first time in racing conditions. As the gap closes up at the front, you can see their top 4 together, and then it's 1.4 seconds back to Jones in 5th. There's Sagassa just jumping on the horn about something further on back, but you can see here running in P6, so I think he's okay for now. Unless this thing, trouble further on back for Greg Colgan. I think that is Martin Davis possibly. No, pardon me, it might not be Davis. It might have been somebody else there that he's just gotten entangled with. It was the Possibly
John
Edward Roll in the
Merritt?
335.
Possibly. See, Merritt went off track as well.
Green car. That's all I caught there, and actually missed the chance to get a read on exactly who that was. Apologies, folks. We'll probably, if things calm down, get a chance to talk replays and such, and maybe piece it together. But as you come now through Gen3, Le Mans corners, and onto the Ullman straightaway for the first time here, try and get some semblance of a rhythm going with a 15-minute sprint and a pole position time, as we said, for Capel of a 2-minute 11.3. We are on track for looking at 7 laps of racing here in this opening sprint. That won't require a pit stop. The cars can do between 8 and 9 laps of actually should be doing more about, should be doing 9 laps to a tank of fuel based on the restriction tonight. It does mean it's a pretty fixed and rigid pit window for that second race later, but as you see here, first lap complete. It's a 2:17 for the rolling start time there for our front runners. And of course, given that the clocks all started exactly the same time as we trickle down the order, those times will get longer and longer for our drivers starting at the back. As Matt Schmicke there, should welcome you into the commentary officially, even though, of course, you've very much been observing and watching all of this alongside me here. So, if possible, I would like to see a replay, if we could, back at the very start with Andrew Dyson and Brad Ratu, just to try and piece that together, because they basically crashed immediately off the rolling start. Trying to understand how that's happened. And I can tell you right now from looking at the replay of my own, that is 100% on Ratu for coming across the nose of Dyson. So, watch here over the chopper cam. So Dyson stage left side of screen, Ratu right side of screen, as race controller's decision, I believe, is coming through there on screen. And I have to say, I don't agree with that in any way, shape or form. Dyson is not happy about that, Matt, on the radio. And I get the feeling that's probably going to be another reprimand for him on the communications choice, and he has quit the session forthwith.
Yeah, that's an interesting decision by race control there. I wasn't looking too close, but it did look like, yeah, Dyson was just going in a straight line there, and then Ratu just come across his nose there.
Yeah, so there's been some stuff. Sam Strideboss, who I was asking for that replay, had some kind of incident on that too. I don't exactly know what that would be either. He's currently sitting in 18th place. Yeah, it looks like he might have found something for me here. So into turn 6, the hairpin. 55 would be Angus Cook, Michael Brennan, sorry. So a little bit of hip and shoulder. It does put him off the road. So, yeah. That explains why, because then you've got Hilly, I think, there on Stride's left, and would that be Benici, perhaps, who's looking for a spot too?
Possibly, yeah, it looks like a whiskey car.
Yeah, 2 spots at least lost there. Stride as a result of that one there. Yeah, so that's being, as we come back to live pictures, so that decision has been reversed by the race control member. And yes, that's very much what it needed to be reversed to. So we'll see if that message gets passed on to Dyson. But yeah, not ideal that we're needing to make that kind of a correction. Greg Colgan here, replay. This will be lap 1. That's what I would have seen. So it was the 278 car. Can I find the 278 real quick on my results? Oh, sorry, that is Greg going off the road. It was the 3 something or other.
064, I think it was, actually. John Merritt here.
Oh, it was
yes.
Merritt. Okay, you did mention him, and I just was thinking, like, Lexus of Melbourne Pulse tuning paint job, whilst they maybe wouldn't have one for this kind of car, surely not. But okay, apparently it would appear Merritt, bit of elbows out through the twists and turns up towards Cunningham corner, has ended up with elbows out as the Sagassa has gone off the road at Le Mans. What's happened there to put him? Oh, hang on. Let's try and pick up this one real quick. Oh, he's Oh, I think we've had a hardware failure for Sagasa. Steering wheel, watch the steering, is going to snap hard to the left here as he enters the turn.
Oh,
And he's still parked there as I'm speaking right now.
Sure looks like when your wheel turns off and it decides all the way left is all it gets.
Okay, reboot has fixed the issue. So he gets going again, but now the last driver rolling on the lead lap of this race in P30. So bit of grief for him to have to worry about there. Back live, back to the top of the field because we're already approaching the halfway mark in this race. And checking in here with Adam Funslow. Team out indeed updated now for ILEC Motorsport. And here we are, 15-second penalty to John Mary. Now, it wasn't Sam Stride he made contact with. That should say Greg Colgan. Oh, lap 2, no apologies. It was the 55 maybe, though we were watching that made the contact with.
Yeah, not sure what's going on there, but let's have a look at the racing for now.
Yeah, we can try and piece it together at some point. Maybe there's something else that we missed. Well, I can see Stride may have temporarily was talking with race control, but I don't see him in any of those channels anymore. So. Anyways, as you said,
there's another incident.
That's
would
a little
be
bigger.
Yep, and that is Merritt. Oh, back across the track.
151.
Dale Sharp.
Dale Sharp. Yeah, that explains why Dale Sharp is the last driver still circulating, a minute and a half behind the race leaders. Still in the lead lap, but had to tow to the pits, I think, from that spot and take lengthy repairs. Right, back live. We'll try and focus up now on the racing here towards the front of the pack. Capel still leads from Rayhana, from Noble, from Jones. Top two are unchanged, but it's +3 for both Noble and Jones. And then +4 for Lane Thoburn to get to P5 at the stage of the race. So he's got Funslow, Jeff Adams right behind him at this stage. And James Glasspool is not too far out of touch either in the 979 DPR racing. But the biggest problem here, Schmicky, I've seen with these guys, is despite the fact you've got these long straights, they won't be generating a ton of draft. Watch this interval here. Barely shifts. Maybe there was like 200ths of a second. Yep, just 200ths of a second by the time Capel hits the brakes for turn 1.
Yep.
It's, Rayhana and Noble both into the dirt at turn 1, trying to hustle these things. Do have these iRacing road setups that they are using to make this series possible, but even so, we are still a little grip limited in a car like this. So, I have to watch it. Appears to have cost Rayhana a fraction of time, as we are coming up on the 2/3 marker already by time in this race. Lap 5 should get to lap 7, as I said, folks. We'll have to see how the clock works that one out for us here in this opening race. Funslow right on the back of Thoburn. Adams right behind him. So they work their way out of the hairpin here. Glasspool, Woods there as well, running over the curb camera in frame. And Adams is close, swings out through the sweeper here as we approach Cunningham corner, but gets back in line, can't get up the inside to make the pass stick. They will go through unchanged here for now as we approach Tower Turn on this 5th lap of the race. This is now big battle inside the top 10. You then got Angus Cook holding on to 10th with David Baz, Adam Lavis and Richard Brookfield for company just in the back of shot as well. So those are our two biggest packs and forward-most packs in this race so far. Schmicky, anything else there? I can see you got Wilkinson and Brennan together, Roffey, Benici together, Ratu, Zamora, Davis, as I just roll down the order, but yeah, so a couple of packs, but then looking at, we've got some smaller 1 to 3 car, 2 or 3 car battles, I should say, to also consider further on down the order.
Yeah, a couple of battle packs. The front's starting to break up a little bit with that pack here, saying 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, kind of the first proper battle pack, and then a couple more split up throughout the field.
Okay, update from Racing Talk. 45-second penalty to Dale Sharp for contributing to the incident with Sam Stride that we just saw on replay on lap 2. Okay, harsh. to put it mildly. We'll be curious to have a look at that one from Sharp's perspective at some point tonight, but now is not the time for that. That's all right. Okay, we will grab it now here. So where is Sharp? Oh, see. Sharp is one of the cars who's gone hard right to avoid the incident and just happens to be the first car that doesn't get through because Stride's car rolls back across the circuit. You can see that there's a car there that shoots through the middle, and then cars that are going full throttle past these stricken cars. So seems rough, but if that's the decision of race control, it's a decision of race control. Not my place to be overly critical about that. As we go back live, and Jeff Adams is just trying to clear Funslow here for 5th place. Pardon me, 6th. And he'll get ahead as you make your way out of Cunningham Corner. So that's been a little bit in the works, and it's given Thoburn a breather for P5. And now it is Adams, Funslow, Glasspool, and Woods, your 4-car battle as they work their way up towards the end of this lap. It will be the white flag when they come by the start-finish line at the end of this one, as we are lapping at 2:12s in these race conditions here. So working their way out of the Le Mans corner. Meanwhile, Capel, his gap up to 2 seconds here. Once he broke that sort of 1 second margin, it seems, he's just powered on ahead. Picked up a couple of tenths. I mean, we're not talking that many laps. There you go, Barty already waving the white flag for Capel to confirm there will be one more. And Reihana, well, 2 seconds back, is certainly still in contention, but half a second slower on that last lap just says to me that unless something drastic was to happen, that will have to be no more for the 57. Looks to be comfortably clear of Chris Noble for P3 as well. Thoburn, 7 tenths off of Ryan Jones and nearly a second faster. We keep our eyes on this one towards the end of the lap, I'd say, Schmicke, for a potential change. And of course, the Adams, Funslow, Glasspool, and Woods pack there might be worth a look at too. Critically as well, all eyes on P10 when we get to the very end of the race. That currently held by Angus Cook. We are inverting the top 10 for the 25-minute main race here for the Trans Am. So that'll mean that Capel has to work his way from in the middle of some of this pack as well. So keep that in the back of your mind. Gap down to 0.6 of a second into the hairpin. Jones and Thoburn. That's probably going to come to a head right at the end of the lap as Woods has dropped off the back of the battle. It's now purely between... well, Adams has closed back up on Thoburn a bit. Funslow, Glasspool with him. And now, yeah, Angus Hook's got a real chance of snatching P9 if he wants to stay on the front row, but perhaps marginally improve his finishing result here tonight out of Cunningham Corner. And that's deep from the 0-1-1 of Jones. You can see using all the track width here to make that the widest Trans Am late model stock car he can. A little slippery on Exeter Tower turn as well as Funslow back up the inside of Adams is going for it there in the background of the shot and trying to take James Glasspool, who's going to happily take advantage of that one with him, but through a pair of left-hand sweepers. Does Adams get advantage? He's almost clear, but he actually does clear him on the run down into Le Mans, but then too deep. Respects the gap that Funslow had on the way in. Funslow around the outside into the Le Mans here onto the Ullman straightaway, and job done for the 329s. Glasspool's around. The 879s come loose. That's going to drop him out of the 10. David Baz takes that invert pole position as well now. Meanwhile, front of the field, Lachlan Capel has extended the margin once again. He will take the checkered flag first and make that 2 from 2 wins in this series in a row. Reihana joins him on the front row for second place, and Chris Noble will round the podium out to finish. As Thoburn catching Jones, but he's not going to get there in time. The 0-1-1 will hold on the 4th and 5th respectively. Funslow, Adams, great scrap there, ends that way with Woods, Cook, David Baz, your top 10 going to finish up then. And that will be inverted for your race 2 grid. Adam Lavis, Mark Hilly, Richard Brookfield, unfortunately going to have to start where they finish, as along with Wilkinson, Brennan, Roffey, Merritt, Lobb, Benici, Glasspool, down at P20 for that, the 879 DPI driver. That's rough for him. Rd-2 down at 21st will be knocked down the order by his penalty as well. In addition to that, officially on the post-race results, been a bit of a messy one there tonight as cars coming to a stop here on lap 8. Won't have a ton more fuel than that in the cars. So that's just about everyone across the line. Looks like Edward Rollo is yet to finish. He will be the 30th and final driver to take the checkered flag. I think so. Dale Sharp is in the pits and not coming back out anytime soon. So that should do us for race results from the opening sprint race here tonight at Sebring for the TransAm series. And we'll throw them up here on screen now. Oh, pardon us, they will just refresh shot us there. So Capel, 2.5 seconds clear of Rehana for the opening race tonight. Noble rounding out the podium there in 3rd place. Jones holding off Thoburn 4th and 5th respectively. Funslow and Adams a tight pair as well to finish the race 6th and 7th. Woods hangs on ahead of Angus Cook. David Bazza said that top 10 rounded out by him. Invert those drivers for the start of race 2. Adam Lavis will have to settle for a P11 star along with Mark Hilly up to 12th. Brookfield in 13th. You can see points going down to 25th once again as well. But Wilkinson 14, Brennan 15, Roffey 16th, Merritt 17th, although penalty for Merritt outstanding as well. He's going to also see him drop. Darren Lobb, no qualifying time, up to 18th place there for him. Benici brings it home in 19th with James Glasspool. Unfortunately, last lap slip and slide knocks him back to 20th place. Rd-2 21st, though penalty for the 038 will push him back to just in front of Greg Colgan, but P26 then, so no points for Rd-2. Martin Davis gets moved up, Zamora moved up, Corey Assar moved up, Goldfinch moved up, and as I said, Tony Roffey will also get moved up, so a point for the Rogue Sim Sports 85 there. Then drop in Rd-2, Colgan, no points, along with Sagassa, Richo, Richards, Rollo, all on the lead lap, and then Sharp retiring a lap short, it seems. Stridey backing out of that one there, along with Andrew Dyson, and it looks like Clayton Smith not taking to the start. Oh, pardon me, no retire the same lap as Dyson. So all 34 drivers started the race. We are down to, we did to 30 finishes, so we'll see how many of them do still take the grid of race 2 here as we're in this short warm-up session, which has just concluded as we round out the results. And as I said in a second, we'll see them take to the grid again here, Matt, and go it all again. 25-minute race, so of course we should see about, we'll be seeing 11 or 12 laps. It depends on how the pit stop time affects things there as to whether we get the 12th. So lining up back on the dummy grid once again here on the Ullman straightaway. And as I have noted there, we will flip the top 10 for this one, which will be a good test of how the racing is going to go here tonight. So it's David Baz who will lead them to the green ahead of Angus Cook for Summit Sim Sports, Ben Woods and Jeff Adams on the 2nd row, Funslow and Thoburn for the 3rd, Jones and Noble for the 4th, and Jackson, Rehana, Lachlan Capel going to round out the top 10 in this case and have to drive their way back to the front. And then Adam Lavis out of 11th, Mark Hilly for 12th, Richard Brookfield alongside Tom Wilkinson on row 7. Michael Brennan's got P15 with Craig Roffey behind him in 16th. John Merritt 17th for the start, Darren Lobb alongside for 18th. Top 20 rounded by Sean Benici and James Glasspool, who now has a lot of work to do to recover things for that one. Brad Rattu, Martin Davis on the 11th, Zamora and Corey Assar on the 12th row, Goldfinch and Roffey on the 13th. Greg Colgan, Braden Sagassa, Adam Richards and Edward Rollo going to make it 30 cars there. And then we look at our last couple of drivers, Dale Sharp, Sam Stride, Andrew Dyson and Clayton Smith, if they all take to the grid. And the answer is, I think like so, unless
Dyson is the last car.
Oh, he's there for you again.
Yep.
Okay, he's going to take the start. Okay, just for a second, he did drop there. And meanwhile, front of the field, it's time to get racing once again. Barney's got the green in hand, and Baz leads him to the line. It looks like a strong jump from him, and even Ben Woods now, I think, actually challenging for 2nd place into turn number 1. But he's clear of the front row starter and Angus Cook as we make our way on cold tyres once more, fellas. Take it a little easy here to kick this one off here. You've got a couple more laps to also work with, too, as there's a bit of biff and barge back in the top 10. Jones and Thoburn going a little bit of elbows out in between turns 1 and 3, but as we get up and over into turns 4 and 5, it's going to be the Alpha Racing Team duo of Thoburn and Chris Noble together. The top two from race 1, side by side, still with Rayhana trying to stay in line, and Capel pressuring on the outside, but not able to get there, and he crosses over and back again into the hairpin here on lap number 1. And Rayhana diving on Thoburn as well. Car's a little squirrely here to get this race underway. But at the front of the field, there you go. Ben Woods on the approach, closing up on David Baz. Doesn't get there though at Cunningham Corner. I'll have to wait for another opportunity to get a position done here at the start, and it might just bunch the field back up once again. Looks like the order so far, nothing too drastic. A bit of hip nose and tail between Cook and Jeff Adams. Meanwhile, Tower turned for third. Actually checks up the subpar racing number 70, and doesn't really get him anything in the process. So Funslow in behind, unchanged spots there for the two of them. Jones looking for his second spot gained in the race, and Funslow respects the approach. Gets in front to cover him off as Woods to the inside of Baz. A bit of hip and shoulder. Basler goes round. Oh, there we go. Tags. Oh, big wreck though. Ryan Jones collects him. Oh, we're parked up and Baz is on his roof. Well, Baz is on Jones's roof. Oh dear. I don't think he's getting out of that one there. So Ben Woods to the race lead for now. Now a lot of side-by-side. Question about whether passes were made under yellow in that situation there as well. That's Adams versus Cook for P5 at the start of lap 2. Around the outside. Adams will look for it. Respects the spacing needed for Cook a bit, but almost too much, and he ends up way wide as then Hilly takes the invitation up the inside. And a bit of door banging into turn 5. It looks like he'll get the job done without much more fuss there. Adams is now down a couple of spots in the start of this race, down 3 from where he started this one. As there you go, Rayhana still fending off Lachlan Capel, start of lap 2, but they are running 3rd and 4th. Certainly no need to rush things at this point of the race. Oh, Adams around though, further on back, I think by himself. Thankfully, he spun off the racing line, and he actually is going to drop himself back to the pits on a toe. So, and away he goes. His first decision of the race control is going to be 5-second penalty for Ben Woods. If we could possibly get back up that lap on incident, as unfortunately for Adams, too much dirt and inside of the curb at the hairpin, and has lit up the inside rear tyre, and around she goes. As we see, there we are. There's, oh yeah, 1, 2, 3, and then getting mounted up on Ryan Jones's roof and bonnet. Done no favours for him. Just gonna try and get.
This must be fairly early on.
Yes, it's just a fraction of a second earlier is what we need. Unfortunately, it would appear. Yeah, the replay queue up isn't quite going to work for us there. So it's all right. We'll have to leave that for now and focus on the racing as is currently on the track. Currently, Rayhana looking to apply the pressure to Adam Funslow for second in this stage of the race. Capel is there until he's not. He's hit the pit lane right off the start, so Lachlan Capel is going to dive in early. Based on this, he's eyeing off an 11-lap race because that's only 2 laps complete, and they can get 9 laps to a tank of fuel if they stretch a fraction. So this race is going to need to go 11 laps for this strategy to work. Otherwise, Capel has put himself in a bit of a rough spot on fuel, being about 1 lap shy of absolutely. Now, we'll be curious to see where he comes out, because that is the other big part to this strategy working now for him. He needs to come out in some clean air to be able to drive. And it would appear he is going to get that, because he's currently hundreds of meters behind Darren Lobb. In fact, that's looking like that's a little worse for Capel. Is the stop really that long? as a penalty comes in for the 59 of Mark Hilly for what we saw on lap 2. So something we apparently missed there, because didn't see anything untoward from the broadcast angles. Let's go have a look at that one real quick as we watch the battle on screen here between Funslow and Rayhana for second place. Now they've got to worry about, are they going to potentially be undercut by Cape? No, he's in the pit still. Did Cape pick up
He
a...
must have got a speeding penalty, would be my guess.
No sign of it, though.
Yeah, I suppose no black flag, but yeah, minute 10, minute 11, he's still in there.
Yeah, it would appear he's parked that up unexpectedly. So, maybe not any... Yeah, no threat of an undercut now, that's for sure, with that one there. So, we'll lose our driver to have won the first 2 races of the season very early on in the 3rd race of the season. So, go back to the battle that is happening here towards the top of town, sorry. And Rayhana, no pressure there. He's going to get up the inside of Funslow, and job done for second place. Funslow is still there though, so certainly couldn't mount a counter-attack, as Rd-2, the fastest driver at the opening phase of this race. He's worked his way up to P5, starting in 21st. 2 minutes 12.3. Seeing that is his last time around. So he's hustling. We'll watch to see if he can pick up some more spots in this one. As there's been Sagasa and Lavis appear to have come together. Where are the 2 of them? Down to the turn 3. And then chop across the nose, it looks like. I'll just confirm from another angle. Yeah. Wasn't fully clear of Lavis, and Sagasa went to finish the move off. So that has put both cars in a bit of a... Well, Sagasa pretty much in a slide. Bit of a pickle there for him. Both cars, though, lose out a good chunk of time and positions in the processes. We'll go back live again to the question of whether this P2 battle will continue or whether it has ended now, and then Funzo is going to have to bide his time for 3rd place at this stage, as this is the next bigger battle pack. Chris Noble leads Tom Wilkinson, Michael Brennan, Lane Thoburn, and probably tack on Richard Brookfield as well there in 10th. You want to call it a 5-car group. So they work their way down into Le Mans and Genebien. Working their way up and over the curbs here. Got to be careful with those because they are tricky at the best of times. And Wilkinson, bad run through Le Mans corner. Going to be vulnerable to Brennan as we make our way down towards the end of the Ullman Straight and this pair of corners that we call Sunset Bend here at Sebring. Brennan backs out of it though on this occasion here, Matt. So at 6-2 will continue to hold down 7th place, but it's given Chris Noble the breather. He certainly would be after, as Brennan will be one of our first drivers towards the front of the field to actually dive into the pits, along with Noble, Brennan and Brookfield. 3 drivers hit the lane together.
Looks like Chris has got a bit of damage on that front right side there, so he probably wanted to get that done, fixed up as soon as he could, so it's a good choice for him to go now. Yeah, that probably does look like Ben did give David Baz a bit of a bump there. I was picked a little bit earlier, but it still wasn't quite early enough.
So yeah, tap there, and then trouble for Reese Goldfinch, which I think has also impacted other drivers at turn 3, including Adam Lavis. So this is a bit of radio communication about that one there whilst we were on the replay regarding rejoins and the like. So I'll try and make sense of that one real quick here. In fact, we'll get a chance to have a look at it on replay. So Goldfinch into turn 3. He's grabbed the grass and gone around by himself by the looks of things. And then the car, he's got going again, right as Lavers and Dyson appear on the scene. And that checkup causes Dyson to bowl right through Lavers and flip him around in the wrong direction as well. So not ideal, to put it mildly here. Come back to live pictures. Ben Woods, 2.4 seconds ahead of Jackson Rehana. Well, that's not going to cut it with a 5-second post-race penalty currently sitting over his head. So it will be Rehana on track to collect top honours in this feature race tonight, as we are coming up to the end of lap 5. And look at these drivers to probably be sitting on 8 to 9 laps of fuel here to start the race off. So the question is, how fast do you choose to go? As Reece Goldfinch is considered a unsafe rejoin for that replay we just showed you there. 25 seconds will be his post-race penalty there for that one. Meanwhile, more battles on the road here. Sam Stride, Darren Lobb, Andrew Dyson now together for 12th place. And Lobb to the inside of Stride through turn 1. Not quite done, has to finish the job at turn 3. And Stride, he gets loose into the corner. Dyson looking for a way through as well, but doesn't get there, so he'll set up run at turn 6. Is off the road. Oh no, Sagassa. Don't tell me that's more trouble for him hardware-wise. That looked like it was a pretty violent departure from the circuit. Chris Noble, the leader of those who have stopped, has just come out in front of Angus Cook and Michael Brennan. So these guys duking it out on the road as well. This is a critical one to watch, of course, when it comes to where are they relative to the race leaders, and the answer is around 40 seconds behind Ben Woods. So we'll have to watch to see if that changes much over the next couple of laps when the fuel is running low for your front runners in this one. Coming to turn 6 this time round, Noble will fend off some of the Supercar cars and get a bit of a margin going as well, so he's got some breathing room too to get through things. There's mechanical black flag there on the tower for Sagassa. That's going to be rough. Whether he can get it fixed up and chooses to come back out, we'll have to wait and see. Because at this stage, we'll be a lap down, presumably by the time this all sort of unpacks itself here. Might want to jump to 4th and 5th if we can. Looks like a change of position for Rd-2 and Hilly on the timing tower, indeed. These two drivers will swap places here into Sunset Bend. And Ryan Jones, lack of caution causing incident on lap 1. With David Baz, according to information there, 45 seconds again there for that one. So that's going to be a big step. As Woods is in the pit lane. Is he? No, he's pulled over the side.
Yeah.
He's blown the motor into turn 1.
Oh no.
Has he? I think he might have done the engine. Quick sanity check of that one here. Yep. Engine blown on the way into the corner. And that's all it wrote for the 00. So it has to tow it back, and because he's just past pit entry, it's about as long as a tow can be here. As a result, I don't think he'll be coming back out again after that one. There. Tumble down the order. Lane Thoburn has come out of the pit lane, but he's come out behind Noble, Cook and Brennan. So net 4th place of the drivers who have stopped in this one so far. And with Woods out of the equation, yeah, gap has dropped to 38 seconds for the race lead. But looking at the drivers who have stopped versus Rehana. Rehana faster, Rd-2 faster, but then you've got Funzon Hilly is slower than Noble. So it's going to be interesting here, as you've got Chris Noble getting a time penalty for having his own contribution to a lack of caution causing incident on lap number 1. 15 seconds his way. So this is all of the incident that happened up at Le Mans corner. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this might be down to this part of trying to, wouldn't call it adjust, but Actually, it is an adjustment if it is, possibly, Matt, because you are also a race control coordinator this season, and this year, I should say. Is it fair to say that these penalties we're seeing for lack of caution under yellows and contributing to incidents is part of responding to racing that's happened earlier this week, particularly the Toyota 86 races at Imola back on Monday night?
I'd say that's likely what it is. There's been no official, at least no one's informed me of any official changes, but I would say yes, that's likely what's happened. Is someone's gone and said we should be a bit harsher on the lack of caution under yellow, which definitely, from what I saw, from the little bit I saw on Monday, definitely was lacking a bit. And tonight, I don't think it's been too bad. A couple times maybe people have been a bit too heavy-footed, but it hasn't been too bad. But that's for RC to decide.
Yeah, and I think we just actually had another little one added, which is license point penalty going the way of Jackson Rehana for not showing enough caution under the yellow flag from that lap 1 incident, apparently. So they're racking up, and race control, which tonight is just one person, so Liam Haycock is working through them as fast as he can, it seems. So yeah, here we are on lap 8, and still sort of breaking down what needs to be assigned there for that one. Gap is now 3.3 seconds for the race lead, but critically here we watch, this is the important battle. Lane Thurburn trying to get past Michael Brennan there, but he can't on this particular moment. Now, Angus Cook as well, so yeah, the two Summit Simsport cars lined up, but also critically Chris Noble was broken away from these guys. So on pace alone, Noble was setting himself up very nicely as both the effective race leader and probably in position to challenge the actual race lead, although reminding, of course, a penalty post-race would adjust his result after it's all said and done.
Well, actually, speaking of pace, it's decided to work now. We can actually have a look here, if it's going to come up. So some of these people's times will be affected by their pit stop time, but you can see...
Oh!
I would guess these are all pitters, and Rd-2 has yet to pit, or pit more than 5 laps ago, but you can still see relative. Chris Noble is a lot faster than the few cars around him. That's the last 5 average of, so car we're on, green lane, and then you got the 5 in front and the 3 behind, and then Rd-2 is the overall fastest.
That does make plenty of sense. Okay, so yeah, Rd-2 definitely hasn't stopped this race, and was a pit stop, whereas these guys, yeah, have indeed.
Yeah, we can go to the overall fastest. So Ben Woods is still showing up because he obviously was very fast until he was not, and then you can see it slowly trickle off between everyone here.
Safety license penalties for, well, it says there 862, the message actually went out. Okay, so it looks like Tom Wilkinson, 862, also apparently has issues. Tony Roffey has just been disqualified from the session, it would appear. He's just come into the pit lane. Yeah, a disqualification flag has come out for the 85. Some trouble there for him. He had a slowdown flag on the tower there moments before the DQ flag showed up, so that will mean he takes no further part in this race. He was running in the high 20s by the looks of things prior to that, so I might try and make sense of that one as well quickly before we look around us. Here we go, last driver in front of Chris Noble, who is yet to stop. It's Greg Colgan. Now, we'll see here as to whether this works out for him. Pardon me, no, Jackson Rehana, there you go, has slipped in and out of the pit lane whilst I've been looking up and down the order of some of this stuff, and that is going to mean that he's come out some 15 seconds ahead of sorts of Noble. So, in fact, yeah, having to work his way through the field as Chris Noble. Pardon me, 8th up to 7th. Hasn't particularly worked for him as Hilly and Ratu have come into the pit lane. in the front of the field. Here we go. Yeah, lap 9. This is the end of the fuel tank run for those drivers who have stuck it out. 10-second penalty for cars passing under yellow on lap 1. Includes 249 and 038. Richard Brookfield and Bradley Rd-2. As Hilly is back out of the pits. 6.5 behind Rehana, so it is very much his to lose. That question on that disqualification has come from iRacing, not from race control.
Rd-2, he must have got a speeding penalty because he's been in the pit for quite a long time. Or he's also parking it up.
Yeah, 50 seconds. Pierre parking it up is going to be the answer there. So we are down, based on that, to about 22 cars out of the 32 that took the start of the race. It's not particularly been a good one by attrition numbers at all. Well, focusing here on the racing now, Cook, Brennan, Thoburn, Brookfield is your battle pack inside the top 10. And Brookfield to the inside of Thoburn, doesn't get there though. Space is left, a bit of hip and shoulder on the way out. Brookfield will have to line up another attack and try again here in the coming corners. Craig Roffey has got Darren Lobb challenging him for the 10th place position as well. Not too far behind these guys as well. And in fact, Lobb tried the outside of tower turn. He's going to lose out to Craig Roffey and Sean Benici threatening now as we make our way up towards Gen3 and Le Mans. Although for Benici around the outside in a low-powered car, drops back a couple of car lengths and we'll have to slot in, try again on another time soon. It's also invited Andrew Dyson to this battle pack now as well. Oh, very strong through Le Mans. Craig Roffey will go all the way to the white line, but it looks like Lobb's running a different car of sorts with the way he just pulls up alongside. Doesn't clear him though into Sunset Bend. There's a touch. Lobb hangs on to it, gets it straightened back up in time though. Dyson will take full advantage up the inside of Roffey through the exit of Sunset as well. So that's going to be 2 spots lost for the 030 here at the end of lap number 10. It will be a 12-lap race, so we haven't lost that lap despite the pit stops. Actually, Rehana is that far up. No, we shouldn't have got the white flag on this occasion, I don't think. We should get to 12 laps because he's already up past the hairpin. Although we are doing 2 10s, 11s and 12s. Actually, that might be close. Is there any angle? Okay, no flag in that
like
shot. Try and pick up Goldfinch. That's right. I think we're under the. I think we're safe to say that we're not on the white flag lap at this stage. We'll pick up Rehana here once again. Should just get one more lap. I think by the barest of margins, as you can see, coming up to Gen3, and it's already 24 minutes 10 seconds. Might get there literally. Actually, even though he's already at Le Mans, he's just going to run down.
Yeah, definitely no white flag.
No sign of activity there at the stand as Richo comes past Barney and the start-finish stripe. So we're going to run this clock pretty much all the way to time, but not just. In fact, yes, we come into here now, we're probably going to get there in about 10 seconds. So we're 10 seconds shy of having only called this one an 11-lap race. And Rehana will bring it around, and now he will see the white flag from Barney. So there you go, about 9, 8, between 7 and 8 seconds is the number there, folks. So we are going to push this one to pretty much maximal extension here tonight in the feature race of the Merch.TGSRCI.com TransAm Series. Continue to watch the battles here in the middle of the top 10. Brennan, going to watch out for Thoburn. Brookfield has dropped back about a car length or two, and he hasn't really closed in since. someone's engine blow up, it's quite possible someone in the pit lane who had already retired has had their engine explode since. That would possibly be Jeff Adams. There has been no other cars with mechanical black flag that I can see. Do have Adam Richards, who's on his own, but he's still well away from the leaders, so I don't think it'll be him. Lavis and Stride going at it for 16th place as we start this last lap, and Lavis has the inside. He'll take that place away. Nothing more there needs to be said and done about that battle. Also watch out for Lob and Dyson possibly to scrap, and of course these 4 drivers here in Brennan, Thoburn and Brookfield, all lined up behind Angus Cook too. So this might be our first pack to watch at the end of the race.
I just had I had a quick look, and there's a 31-point incident limit on this serve, which didn't think we usually ran limits like that, but I guess this series has one set up now.
Yeah, we'll have to wait until the results finalised to be able to confirm that for whether that was purely an incident point issue for Tony Roffey tonight, or if there was something else that we did have a slowdown flag, but that shouldn't have translated to a disqualification. So it does point at something else being part of the puzzle for this one. Through Le Mans corner for the final time. Looks like Angus Cook is clear enough to not have to worry, but we come back to the front of the field to another one of the Summit Since Walk drivers, P2 in race number 1. Jackson Rehana will take a comfortable race win here to finish things off at the front end of town. Mark Hilly is second across the line, but 59 does have, no, he has only safety license points, so you hang on to second place. Chris Noble comes home third, but a time penalty will promote Funslow officially on the results up to third. And then these guys here all get bumped up a spot too, as Thoburn's out of fuel, limps it home across the line by the looks of things. I think the same can be said for a few cars that have slightly under fuel. I think Wilkinson's dropped a couple of spots in the last lap. Yeah, 2:20, there he goes. It flashes up there on the tower. So he dropped about 8 seconds to everyone around him. And look for now anyone else a little shy on juice. No, all lapping in the 2:14s and 13s there in the mid-pack, and now looking for Greg Colgan. To 12.1 from Jackson Rehana resets the fastest lap officially in the server at the end of the race to boot too. Real quick, just had a bit of a communication in the server from race control to only bring forward any additional incidents that weren't called up. And it looks like we're just waiting on Adam Richards to take the checkered flag, and then we'll have our official race results for you here, folks, in this second and final race tonight, at least, of the merch.tgsrci.com TransAm series. So have to hold tight with us for about another 15 seconds or so, folks, and then we can get you those results. But bit of a fiery one there here tonight, Matt. As there we are for Richo clearing the finish line. Will mean we can bring up those results hopefully anytime now. But yeah, definitely despite the bigger track and longer straights and the like, definitely explosive race at points here tonight. But Rehana from Hilly is undisputed for the top 2 here tonight. Chris Noble's time penalty will see him drop back to P8 with the 10 seconds, was it? Just confirming here. No, sorry, 15 seconds. No, so he'll actually drop to just ahead of Sean Benici, down in 11th place. So that's how much that penalty will hurt him. So promote Funzo 3rd, Cook up to 4th, Brennan to 5th, Brookfield 6th, Thoburn 7, Lob to 8th, Dyson to 9th, Craig Roffey to 10th. And actually, pardon me, you've got Richard Brookfield with his own penalty will drop out of the top 10 as well. So it's all a bit of a mess. We probably shouldn't really try and calculate this too much. From there, Craig Roffey, Sean Benici, Tom Wilkinson, Daniel Correa-Sarr is 14th. I think from 14th on back, we are more or less unaffected. So Martin Davis, Adam Lavis, Sam Stride, Eduardo Zamora, Greg Colgan and Edward Roller to round out the top 20. As you see here on your screens, last drivers on the lead lap were Reece Goldfinch and Adam Richards. You had 3 laps down for Brad Ratzer, who still gets points just. Tony Roffi does actually technically apparently get points despite being disqualified from iRacing. And then Ben Woods on back, no points for them. So that includes himself, Braden Sagassa, Dayton Baz, Lachlan Capel, Jeff Adams, Clayton Smith, Ryan Jones, Dale Sharp, John Merritt, and James Glasspool, with Merritt and Glasspool not taking the race start. Actually, Sharp not taking the race start. Actually, we saw Sharp take the race start.
Yeah.
Just didn't complete lap 1 then, in that case. And incident point count apparently for Tony Roffi was 1x, which that doesn't seem right. I think something's not showing correctly for me. Just looking at the results tab in session, because I should be able to see if that DQ was clearly incident point associated. That's a little unclear.
Well, the official results in the overlay also say 1, so that's an interesting one.
Okay, so he did have a slowdown penalty of some kind, but then
failed to clear it, possibly.
Yeah, well, yes, but at the same time, that should have resulted in a black flag, not a DQ.
Yes.
Possibility, because he has come into the pit lane. He didn't clear a slowdown, came into the pits, but then I've just seen what he did. He reversed backwards at the pit lane.
That'll get you.
He's reversed quite a long way. So that's the answer. Yeah, backwards indeed, as it turns out, was the answer, but in the pit lane, not on track. We will have a brief post-race interview phase here for the TransAm series. It is with our winner of the feature race, and did come home second in race 2 as well, so certainly a good night out for Jackson Rehana. I mean, yeah, sort of talk us through that one if you can, please. Obviously, race 1, Capel there had the pace to be able to sort of get clear by the middle of it all, but in race 2, having to work your way through from 9th place. How did the inverts have changed the equation for someone like yourself who clearly had the pace to be out front?
Yeah, first of all, good evening, fellas. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it was interesting. Like, that first race was like the first race I've done in these. Like, so learning, I guess, the characteristic of the tire, learning, what you can do, what you can't. Like, I felt like I finally sort of understood what the window was toward the end of the first race. So yeah, it was good going into the second race. I'm like, okay, I understand the car now. Like, we can give it a red hot crack. And I think a mixture of that and also just the chaos of race 2, like just all the pit lane penalties and stuff like that. Yeah, just stuff out of my hands out of my hands. Unfortunately, I would have liked to have had another good wheel-to-wheel battle with Lachlan and a couple of the drop bear guys who were behind. But yeah, no, either way, it was good. Just stayed out of trouble and head down, and yeah, got to the end, thankfully in front. And shout out to the boys; they came in 4th and 5th, I think, after penalties.
Yeah, a little while there. I was just watching some of the stuff there from that lap 1 race 2 incident that took a couple of drivers out, and it's also ended up in quite a few penalties for both the incident itself and then also penalties for not showing caution or passing, making a pass whilst passing,
including myself
too. Yes, it would appear this yours has only resulted in safety license points, so it doesn't affect your result tonight, but does mean just a thing is to keep in mind over the course of the season. But in that case, sort of talking longer form of the season, what do you think of the car? Will we see you back here on Wednesday nights? And Matt, if we could get the schedule up, would be great. Just to refresh myself on where we're going. Watkins Glen next week, and it's a bit of an American-Canadian theme here for the bulk of the season. So just to run it through, Watkins, Glen, Sonoma, Motorsport, Belle Isle, Montreal, Gilles Villeneuve. The next 5 weeks, all on the American, Canadian circuits. Of those alone, based on the experience tonight, what do you think of that kind of a schedule with this kind of car?
Yeah, good. It's a good schedule, a bit of American flavour there, along with some cool Australian tracks like Sandown, good favourite of mine, and Phillip Island, another favourite of mine. So yeah, it'll be good. Mexico will be another welcome addition as well. Did my first race there last night, learnt the track and quite enjoyed it. So and along with some of the classic NASCAR tracks and an IndyCar track thrown in there. So yeah, it's a good schedule. Sebring's actually a track that I hate, to be honest. So happy with the result tonight. Probably my least favourite track on the calendar. Looking at that, so yeah, it'll be good. And to answer the question on the car, yeah, surprisingly forgiving. Like you can get away with a fair bit. You can drive it pretty hard. Like it's not like a traditional sort of stock car style where you have to sort of nurse the tyre throughout the course of the stint. Like that's what I sort of learned at the end of race 1. You can really throw a fair bit at it, and it's going to be quite forgiving as long as you don't take the mickey. But yeah, it's a cool thing, and looking forward to be back for the rest of the season.
Good to hear that then. Now, when it comes to the season for the GSRC in general, will we see you elsewhere? Pardon me if I've sort of missed out on what you've been racing last week to kick the season off, if you did anything, or if you haven't yet, where else might we see you pop up? I should say, actually, who am I kidding? Apologies, we had the incident on Monday night in Imola as well, so there was that. So, and I do actually want to apologise to you for that. I think actually now is as good a time as ever.
That's all right, mate.
It was clumsy trying to race you and Angus at the same time like that, as much as it felt like it was trying to fight back against the 2-on-1. But yeah, nevertheless, 86s here now. Anything else we can see you in that case here this season in the GSRC?
86. 86 is a sort of just a fun thing. I'll jump in, like I'm absolutely dog slow in them, so I think that'll just be a sort of dive in, dive out kind of thing. If I'm feeling it, I might jump in. If not, then whatever. Mainly focused on probably these and the Indy Next series. Had a good result there last Friday night, so looking forward to building on that. And GT4s is another thing I've really been driving a lot of lately and trying to get good in. Just based off the fact I really enjoy the real life series. It's I think one of the healthiest categories in the country, IRL, and yeah, I'm a big fan of that in real life. So yeah, getting used to them in sim and driving them a lot in sim is rewarding, and yeah, keen to get amongst it too.
Well, there we go. So plenty of a chance to see you on the airwaves then in that case, and all the best for what that will be. We might have to let you go for now, so thank you for joining us. Floor's yours though. Before we do, any shout outs and thanks you want to give to those who have helped you out?
Yeah, huge thanks to the Summit boys. It was awesome racing with Angus and Michael again tonight. It's the first time in a while we've all raced together, so that was cool. And shout out to those guys as well for getting a solid result in that second race. Did really well, and hopefully we can see Johnny Simpson back next week.
There we go. Summit Sports firing pretty strongly there tonight in that case, led by yourself. Thank you for joining us, Jackson. Well done once again. And in that case, good luck with Thursday and Friday for the remaining races you'd like to do.
Cheers, Dan. Thanks for having me, guys.
There we are. Second place in race 1. Winner of race 2, Jackson Ohana, joining us there for a post-race interview from the TransAms. We do have one more person who has joined us, and he did come home second in that feature race here tonight, Mark Hilly. From my guys at Orbit Drop Bear as well. So you ended up best of our boys tonight, Mark, in the feature. Didn't qualify though, so you had to work your way through the field in race 1, and a bit of a crazy one that you ended up in and around at points, which means you will be seeing results in race 1 adjusted with a penalty too. So talk us through that one there, sort of in a summary case, I guess, like trying to work your way from near the back of the field to start race 1, for example.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I did actually try to qualify this week, but it just did not go to plan. Had caught too many slower cars and couldn't get a lap in. But yeah, race 1, you sort of have to pace yourself, and you need to make as sorry, I pushed it well. You need to make as many moves as you can early on in the race, because you know that the quicker people will be just building a bigger and bigger gap. So there is this sort of added time pressure, but I honestly really enjoyed it, especially some of my other moves, like on Jeff into turn 3.
Yeah, indeed, that was there's some good stuff we saw there in the second race in particular. So you're starting a little further up the field. You can sort of, you got a longer race too to sort of work things out there as well. I guess, yeah, sort of open qualifying. I was actually under the impression we'd have lone qualifying as well. So, yeah, how much, you said that you just couldn't find a gap to sort of slot yourself into to get a time on the board. Would there have been a case of just doing a lap regardless of whatever it would have been an option at all, or was it a case of you just by the time you catch up, there's then no gap to back off and set yourself up with anyways?
Yeah, no, I caught up too quickly on my first 2 flying laps, and then decided to reset, but missed the flag by I think 3 seconds. So it was right within reach, and then the session hard cut, so it was pretty sad.
Right, yeah, that would do it. Yeah, it's definitely not ideal, to say the least. There, and that's, I guess, part of the challenge, though, when you do have these sessions here where qualifying will end at the time it hits 0. You've got to get the timing exactly right. But it's 2 weeks in a row now. Strong results on the road, although, as I said, penalties tonight are going to adjust things for you in race 1, at least. But how's it going, do you think, as an overall now, when you combine both last week at Red Bull Ring and tonight here at Sebring, and thinking about next week, which will be Watkins Glen? We'll be using the Cup course layout, which means you're going to have all the runoff at turn 1 and on the exit of the carousel as you come back on the short sort of shoot segment to finish the lap up nice and short. So what do you think that's going to be like for racing? Are you looking forward to that, or is there something else there perhaps that might play a part?
Yeah, I mean, look, you open up the track limits a bit more. It just allows more room for experimentation and overtakes and things like that. So I think it could be really interesting, dealing with marbles and dust and dirt. But yeah, I think the Cup layout itself is actually really fun, especially in these cars, which is a shame because I won't be able to be here next week. But we'll be cheering all the Drop Pair boys on.
All right, then. Well, it'll have to be a drop round in that case, but such is the nature of the GSRC at times, as seeing the replay of the incident back on lap 1 that you were able to get around and avoid without too much fuss there at the end of the day. But in that case, we'll wrap things up here for tonight, and therefore have to wait to see you in 2 weeks' time. Before we let you go, the floor is yours. Who do you want to thank for getting out there, the results, or anything else here tonight?
Thanks to Tom for having a laugh with me on the radio during the race. Brad and Ben Woods as well for just having someone else to race with. Same with Capel. And of course to you, Dan and Matt, for putting up the broadcast.
There we are, Mark Hilly, P2 tonight, which should stand from what we've seen from race control. This one. Games on the podium here at Sebring to wrap up the TransAm series of this first half of the evening. Thank you very much. Well, with that said and done, Matt, looks like that's going to wrap us for tonight here from Sebring International Raceway. But of course, there's more racing to come with the Trophi.AI Supercars series, which is racing also in America at Watkins Glen, if I'm not mistaken there. Before we do wrap up from the TransAms here, any sort of performances you think probably worth a shout that didn't get a strong start? I'm seeing here Michael Brennan picked up a couple of spots race 1, 22nd to 15th, and jumped from 15th to 6th in race 2, for example. Darren Lobb with no qualifying time, able to go from 34th back of the field in race 1 up to 18th, and then from 18th to 9th in race 2. So you've got drivers who are making moves, and I don't think controversially either. So some good stuff out there wherever you look, it seems.
Yeah, there's definitely some big movers. Dyson, I've noticed we know he's fast and he started at the back due to race 1, but up 23 tentatively in race 2, which is very well done. Daniel Correa up 10, Adrola up 10, so definitely some big movers in the second race there from some guys we didn't see a lot of.
Indeed. Now, unfortunately, yeah, the nature of the beast, there's only so many places we can look and keep an eye on here in the racing session. We'll have to take a break here now, folks, to be able to get ready for this Trophi.AI Supercar Series racing action from the Glen. Before we do, just quickly shouting out, of course, our sponsors and partners that make the series and everything here at the GSRC possible. Of course, big thanks to Disruptive Laps and Matt Richards for coming on board as club sponsor for season 2025D. Waste Options, sponsor of the Monday night Toyota GR86 Challenge and GT3 Series. Trophi.AI, returning as our sponsor of the Supercar Series here on Wednesday nights. I've sped up past the carousel. Pantech Industries returning as the sponsor of the Porsche Cup on Thursday nights. This should leave us here with Sprayton, non-alcoholic cider, and then Flash Graphics comes next after mentioning the shop GSRC.inc if you want to support the club through a bit of clothing and kitwear to go with along, and Flash Graphics for local livery design if you're here in the club. But with that said and done, we'll take a short break here on the broadcasting platforms. Stay with us though, folks, if you can. More racing to come from the Trophi.AI Supercar Series up next at Watkins Glen. And a warm welcome back, folks, if you've stayed with us here after the break, or if you're joining us here for the first time tonight or afterwards on the replay. Or welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our second half of your Wednesday night racing here on the platforms of the GSRC. We transition ourselves to the main event. That is, of course, the Trophi.AI Supercars series. And we stay stateside, head up from Florida to upstate New York to one of America's iconic circuits in its own right in endurance racing. This, of course, being Watkins Glen International. And here today we are on the full boot layout of the course. So unlike what we were just talking about to some of the drivers after the TransAm race, which will use the Cup layout, track limits are strictly enforced here. So you don't have the freedom to run wide in places where you can when the NASCAR rules are in effect. We are very much under the sports car rules here tonight. Qualifying has just seen the checkered flag drivers are finishing the laps that they're currently on. And then after that, we'll be going into our 40-minute race with one compulsory pit stop to worry about here tonight. So we can talk about that in due course. But for now, we're just waiting on qualifying to wrap up. We'll bring you the race information and what the track's doing when that's all over, I do believe, by the looks of things. But great to have you here with the broadcast tonight. My name is Daniel Yeaman, once again here on the microphone for this season, as long as I don't end up getting myself in a bit of a pickle with work. And Matt Schmicky taking care of our production and cameras and the like here tonight. Got about a minute left, it looks like, until drivers will hit the grid, so it looks like we'll be waiting just a fraction longer. But Matt, if we could perhaps maybe even talk championship.
That's exactly what I was thinking. We can have a look at the points after last week.
Fantastic. Because, yeah, obviously some big things there. The main thing being, of course, last week that despite the fact that it was mostly a race between Cam Jones and Sam Blacklock in the dying minutes at the mountain last time out, it ended up being the fact that those two drivers got together very much down in the chase. So Ryan Muller starting off a season fresh here with the gents, able to get through for his first win straight off the rank. And as you can see, took a 9-point lead over Cameron Jones, who himself had 7 points over Sam Blacklock there in third place. Of course, part of that is all down to the fact we've got positions gained, lost, fastest laps, no incident points. So there's a lot of ways to score additional points on top of your raw race or qualifying, of course, too, worth a couple of bonuses there. So you can see Pacific Esports, 9-5, Orbit Drop Bear, DPR, Evo Works, 5 teams represented in the top 5, a million 6 Whiskey Business. In fact, the fact that can keep going down to Tim Nicol in 8th for Quantum, to have 8 unique teams in the elite split on driver order. Did have a couple of retirements, perhaps, yes, but nevertheless, it surely shows some solid field spread and team representation here in the elite split. Do we have the dev tab also something we can grab real quick? We do indeed. Fantastic. Not as many drivers there, but you can see 10 drivers took to the start. And it would be Liam Isles who came out comfortably in front, really controlled. Really strongly controlled that split there and immediately was put into it. Dale Sharp there, second, ahead of Mark McNamara, Greg Heaney, Anthony Cuthbertson, your top 5, along with Philip Clark, 6th and final driver to finish the race in the dev split. But with that said and done, let's head to the grid now. Please, Matt, thank you very much. So for our 40-minute race, it will be another pole position for Sam Blacklock here tonight. This time, Ryan Miller will join him on the front row again, but the gap is a little larger than it was at Bathurst. Lachlan Capel and Dominic Ferraris on row 2. Darren Lobb joining us on the third row alongside Connor Nixon. And Mackenzie Stewart, Trent Allen, Brad Rassu, and Will Buchanan, your top 10 with not a ton of teams there, actually, unlike what I was saying about the championship standings. So watch out for that. Andrew Dyson alongside Ryan Nielsen with Lachlan Pryke and Ryan Jones on row 7. Josh Fitt, Oliver Pattinson for row 8. Ben Woods, Liam Isles for row 9. Travis Azapati and Peter Pavlovich on row number 10 for this one here. And then over the page, 21st for Adam Lavis, Nathan Michael 22nd, 23rd Jonathan Harris, Dale Sharp in 24th, Terry Marsh 25th with Greg Heaney in P26, Dodgson and Koch on the 14th row, Philip Clark, Edward Rollo on row 15. Your final cars are Mark McNamara, Barry Kluver, Dylan Walker, and Mitch Wood. 34 starters here in this one. Again, it looks like the lights are up, the lights are out. It's time to go racing. The Trophi.AI Supercar Series. Lob's gone nowhere on the inside. Everyone's going to have to dodge him as he gets rolling. And the answer looks like we are going to dodge him A-OK for now. As down to turn one we go. We've got 3, if not 4 wide in the mid-pack around the teens. Blacklock, though, will lead the field out. There is the absolute bedlam. You've got Stewart, Nixon, and then you've got the AITT cars of, I think it's Buchanan and Allen flanking Dyson, but they have to sort themselves out, get double fire, because you cannot take it up the hill to 3 wide matchmaking, as this is going to be a bit crazy if that is any sign of what's to come here, as drivers still trying to get themselves settled in.
Yep, certainly going to be a bit wild at the start here. It always seems to be, though. It looks like, oh, as I say that, I see a lot of shuffling lower down in the field.
As a party in Lavis.
Top almost 20 or so seem to have got through pretty well.
So here we are, down into the boot for the first time. Blacklock deep at turn number 6. Allows Mueller to get even closer, but doesn't quite get lined up for a position there, it seems, as we come to the toe of the boot. Really trying to push things along here. Just to give you an update on how the circuit is weather-wise. 20 degrees air temperature, 27 degrees track temperature. Very high humidity, though. Might be sapping a bit of engine power. Nathan Michaels only just cleared a slowdown. It took him forever. Darren Lobb with a black flag, which I'm going to presume is a jump start, which will explain why he went nowhere off the green. So trouble there for him, as Ryan Jones just called in on the radio as well. So something for him that he wants looked at by race control for this server tonight. As we come around to complete lap number 1, we did 148s in qualifying, and as you'll see here, it's going to be about a 156s right up against the wall there. The Blacklock, Mueller, and Capel, your top 3, they have broken clear of everyone else. 55 for the start, the standing lap. But yeah, once we sort of factor that in perhaps a little bit. So, meanwhile, we actually might want to cut to Ryan Jones if we can. Please, Matt, you've got 3-4 cars scrapping over the same bit of real estate there, and it's getting feisty just behind this pack. There it is. So Jones has just had Lachlan Pryke pass him by. It's got Josh Fitt, teammate, looking for a run as well, but that doesn't happen in this particular occasion. And they do settle themselves out, but for a moment it was very hairy into turn 1, 2, if not 3 wide. For many of those drivers, and then he's in deep into the chicane there at the inner loop, as it's called officially, along with then the carousel here. Leaning on his car, a bit of a hustle on. He's got the slowdown penalty, so he moves out of the way to try and get that one cleared. As we come down into the boot once again, he still hasn't got rid of it though, when he's on the apex. As yeah, with Pryke here now gets a bit of space to breathe and make his run down the hill in the Rapid Theft Esports 767. So expect him to go straight into elites, but looks like also Ryan Nielsen is very much part of elite, previously was. So apologies for the unclassed categorization there. We'll have that all sorted for next week, don't you worry. He's on the back of Brad Rd-2 and Will Buchanan. And the train goes all the way up to Mackenzie Stewart in 4th place, sort of really showing Mackenzie might be a bit of a cork in the bottle at this point. He picked up 3 spots off the start though, so done very nicely there to jump up from P7. And as I say that, Matt, he pulls half a second on Connor Nixon, and Andrew Dyson's got a similar gap back there. As fastest driver on the circuit on lap 2 is going to go the way of Ryan Mueller by 0.02 of a second over Sam Blacklock.
Now that seems to have calmed down a little bit, maybe we'll go have a look at what happened to Leverson as a party on that one there.
Good call for that one there, indeed, to get some replays in. Up in the inner loop, the bus stop chicane, whatever you want to call it. Unfortunately, the 2 cars came together by the time I'd seen them, so that's a good spot here, I think, to pick it up. So Lavis to the inside, as a party on the outside as we come on here. You can make it 2 wide, if only just... From that angle there, unfortunately, we might want this angle if we can, perhaps. Matt with the chopper to see if we can pick up exactly what's triggered this. So, yeah, dead heat side by side. Oh, no. No, never mind. That's not the Whiskey Business car in question. Oh, dear. Adam Lavis has fired it in a bit deep. And it's taken an innocent driver with him. So, they get going without too much damage. But that was never going to work. Is Greg Heaney here? Was there something for
Off
him
the
at start of
start,
the race?
yeah, him and Tristan Kosh have both been marked as crashed. Let's see if we can see anything. No, looks. Oh, that would be Tristan there. So maybe Greg was just a bit slow and got a bit of a bump.
Oh, what? Possibly. But we survive. Okay. As an update there from race control, there was something between Brad Rd-2 and Ryan Jones on lap 1 that's been deemed no further action, but we'll go back to live pictures as it looks like there's been an exchange between Buchanan and Trent Allen. The AITT Revolution e-racing cars in this battle pack have just switched, I do believe. And look to see if they can turn the screws, apply some pressure, and make their way up the order a little bit more. As just looking here, I want to try to run some qualifying times here for this one tonight. So 40 minutes divided by, say, the 148s, caught 150s once you factor in pit stop, the opening lap of the race, and all that jazz. 22 lap race coming our way tonight. Is most likely. Maybe there's a 23rd lap that can sneak in there if the average pace is better than a 1 minute 50. We'll be able to see a 23rd lap, but with pit stop as well in mind, that may keep us on the 22 lap side of things. And from the numbers here tonight, we are looking at around 14 to 15 laps on a tank of fuel with the restriction set to 50% here tonight. So I would look to see drivers run this car as empty as they can, and then you're doing a short sprint to the finish, given that this track here, there should be some overtaking opportunities around the place. Turn 1, bus stop chicane, into the boot at all 3 corners of it, and coming out of the boot as well. So let's watch here, for example, Lachlan Capel, just inside of 0.3 of a second to Ryan Miller, but he was closer. We'll see actually in this race, in the race conditions, they're lapping right on 1 minute 50s actually at this point in time. So not quite got the punch they did in qualifying, but comfortably managing things here, the original podium as things stand, as the gap has grown out to 3.7 seconds between Capel and Mackenzie Stewart for 4th. And a bit of back and forth is that there between Liam Isles and Jonathan Harris, I think. Well, it was for a moment of a second, but possibly also a connection thing there, as Jones and Fit have just exchanged places on the tower for 12th place, a little up the road from this hit as well. So DPR drivers with a bit of a friendly exchange there, I think. Phil Clark has come unstuck at turn 1 down at the back of the field, unfortunately for him. But you're going to be able to pick this one up straight away. Again, Phil joined us for the first time in the Supercars, at least last week, to at least my knowledge of how things have been. And unfortunately for him, a little too much power on corner exit. Keep it off the fence, hopefully. Yes, I think so. And then just a painful wait there, it seems to be guaranteed a gap to rejoin the track in a safe manner. Puts him 50 seconds off the race lead here on lap 5 of this race back live. The top 3. 0.6 of a second between Blacklock and Muller, holding steady now with Capel at 0.3 or less between 2nd and 3rd. Possibly where the first battle on this provisional podium is likely to land, should it eventuate. But for now, it would appear it's going to be actions holding steady. Look at that, all doing 1 minute 50.7s. We're talking hundredths of a second to split numbers and gaps here. So it's all very much a holding pattern. You may want to go look at Mackenzie Stewart. He's a couple of tenths slower than Connor Nixon and Andrew Dyson behind him. Will they line a move up in the next couple of, well, if not corners, maybe laps? Dyson might be having a look to crack at Nixon first, because the Rd-2 is not on the back bumper of the 528. Up towards the chicane, and no exchange just yet as we'll jump inside the car with Dyson. Certainly threatening a little bit there. Goes the tight line into the carousel. The run is about even on the way out and doesn't look for it up the inside, so stays in line. As we take the boot once again here on lap 6 of this race. I have to say it looks a little faster, and especially with the way he's moving around a bit, trying to get a different line set up, entry, exit of these corners in particular. But either not going with it just yet or playing some early mind games here, as we've just clocked over the 10-minute mark, 1/4 time elapsed in this race. That's a real signal there. Corner exit. Speed for Dyson is looking miles better than what Nixon can produce at this point in time, which is a concern if you're in the Rd-2 car, Matt, because if you're losing that much ground on a corner exit every time you try and put the power down, it really doesn't bode well when you're only just under halfway into what the car can do on the fuel in this case. Also just had a battle between Mitch Wood and Jonathan Harris go the way of Wood for position in the last couple of turns, and in fact you've got Nathan Michael involved in the scrap as well. He's all down in 18th place on back, but they're duking it out too around here, so it's plenty busy. In fact, actually Ryan Jones has picked up Lachlan Pryke for 11th place as well. Oh, touch possibly up the S's there from Pryke into Jones. Upsets the 011 as he tries to put the power down. Rd-2 past Trent Allen for 8th place as the defense comes out from Jones in response to that one there. Pryke is not afraid to use the bumper to send a message or set something up. Dyson has indeed split the Orbit drop bet cars of Mackenzie Stewart and Connor Nixon, so pass made there as well. The action is aplenty here on lap 7 as Pryke is now looking for the outside on Ryan Jones. Josh Fitt going in deep, trying to get into this one as well. As we'll go to the replay real quick to see here that again, yeah, the car looks squirrely for Nixon at this point in the race, which is not a good thing at all. Matt and Dyson needed no further invitation up the inside, and yeah, look at that, Connor too also not looking to fight that one too hard for now and play the long game, settle in P6.
Yeah, looked like he got that done pretty easy.
I mean, a lot of it comes down to it's like, well, if I can't fight you now, I might as well wait to see what can happen given we're early days in this race, and therefore we'll sort things out here. You've got Ryan Nielsen, Trent Allen, Brad Rd-2 together at the moment as oh, Allen just grabs the grass in the final turn, loses the rears in a slide. Nielsen has to check up for a bit to get past him cleanly, but he will do so. So that is 9th place the way of the 297. Trent there just pushing a little too hard well, pushing past what the track limits will give you without any issues there. So that got a little hairy to say the least. But we move on as we watch these cars up onto the backstretch once again. Stewart, Dyson, Nixon, Buchanan, then Rd-2, Nielsen, Allen to round the top 10 here in this race. And there has been an exchange for 2nd place whilst we're looking at the mid-pack battles. Lachlan Capel through and Ryan Muller. When has that happened? Sometime on lap 6 is the answer. I mean, just scroll back to see that he was ahead then. And it's coming up out of the boot to the heel on the exit, is it? Yeah. Capel looks into, there's a brake tap from Muller. I've just noticed right as we came up to the top of the boot. So there had been a couple of bumper taps earlier in the lap, and then it would appear we'll decide, sure, you go ahead, I will settle into line and try and stay here, because these guys, they're happy days, pulling away from everyone else. This is most likely going to be our podium fight for tonight. So 2 out of the 3 of our protagonists from Bathurst last week are here once again in the form of Blacklock and Muller. And we are missing, of course, Cameron Jones from what should hopefully be an entertaining spectacle in the closing stages. We'll wait to see what happens here as Ryan Nielsen has hit the pit lane. So a very early stop from him. Not a problem on fuel once it fills up. He'll be able to make the distance to finish the race, but I'm not sure it's going to work out too well for him, Matt. If you've got places on a track where you can make an overtake work without too much fuss, the general rule of thumb in these cars has been to go long and overcut your opponent. It's actually rather impressive how much speed you'll have if you can afford to sit out 2, 3, 4 laps and have the fresher tyres in the back part of the race. Undercut gets you the initial position, but it makes you very vulnerable when you're on the defence.
Yeah, it certainly does. You want to have the best tyres possible near the end of the race in these, from what I've experienced. Not that I've done too much racing in them.
Watching here now, Andy Stewart still has 4th place for the moment, but Andrew Dyson is getting very close to his back bumper. And that would probably suggest to me that this move will be coming in the not too distant future, unless Dyson is of a mind that there's a fuel saving to be had and a lot of pace to be gained from making the pass. But as you say that, immediately to the inside he looks, but it's only a threat. No actual attempt made there into turn 1 here. Start of lap 10 coming up on halfway on the clock. And that would likely that'll put us at halfway into the race as more cars into pit lane. Jonathan Harris, by the looks of things, and Greg Heaney, Adam Lavis going to try and split this race practically in 2, just on the short side of the halfway as well. So we'll continue to watch the battle for 4th place as Mackenzie Stewart holds it for now, but Andrew Dyson looking the fastest of this pack. Just starting to apply the pressure bit by bit. It's turning the screws. I have to watch if someone like Will Buchanan there in the ROTT Revolution E-Racing Camaro, Brad Rasu maybe just behind him again in the next about Orbic Drop Bear Mustangs, can perhaps latch onto this battle as well. You've got Ryan Jones, Lachlan Priger still together by half a second or less. So watch out for this battle to reignite. Oliver Pattinson's got Peter Pavlovich and Ben Woods for company, or not. Pavlovich is slow up out of the boot, and he actually drops a chunk of time to the 82 machine. And all wide at the heel, and Woods doesn't need much more of an invitation. Ryan Miller's coming to the pit lane for P3. Bold undercut gamble coming out from your race winner from the mountain last week. This, I don't think, is going to work here, but I may be wrong. There are tracks where the undercut works. I was just under the impression with the number of, I thought, viable overtaking opportunities. And for Ryan Miller, he'd want to wait and go with the other drivers he was racing for the lead. It's his box nicely, so we'll stay on track and watch the battle here now. 3rd place, Mackenzie Stewart and Andrew Dyson. The DPR car / the Uptune Mustang is closer. Looks to the inside. Is he there? Not quite. Stewart doesn't yield or roll into the corner, so he'll maintain the spot, if for another couple of corners at this point. As has been an issue, Adam Lavis, Philip Clark down in the heel of the boot. Have come together in some fashion. Watch this battle here for a little longer. I might just try and pick up what's gone wrong with Philip and Lavis. So I can tell you the summary is a unforced error, solo mistake by Clark, and the rejoin has taken Lavis around. So that's going to be a bit of a slam dunk one, although Clark has left the server. So it's not going to really impact this race for Lavis. It's another kick in the pants. He's not even on the timing tower, as you can see, outside the top 30. Stewart, though, bit of a wiggle out of the boot this time. Dyson is closing, although going to tuck in here for the pit lane. Is he? Oh, Dyson tries to get underneath him. And they'll tag, but Dyson actually does get underneath and into the pit lane ahead of him there.
I thought for sure there was about to be a big crash.
I thought so too. I was fully of the expectation Dyson was going to look for the drive out, and that would have turned him through. But good news is he was also looking for a pit entry there. It's been called into race control by Stewart, but I really don't see much there that needs to be said and done. I mean, Stewart is following the marked pit entry line, which sort of requires you to slow down and take a tight entry into the corner. This will be a good shot to show it again real quick. Dyson, though, takes the normal racing line, gets underneath him, and because the pit lane opens up there, or the entry opens up there, right as you get around the final corner, that works out okay. Neither car really gets hurt too much, but pit stop times, Dyson nearly 2.5 seconds faster through the pit lane for fuel by my numbers, and yours line up pretty much the same. So, yeah, it would appear Mackenzie Stewart a little conservative on the refuel amount is going to mean that Dyson is well clear here after the stops. And he currently runs second of those who have pitted in this race, because, of course, Ryan Miller is your effective race leader as Blacklock hits the pit lane here at the end of lap 12. Drivers coming in a little earlier than I thought they would, to be honest, but let's see here what 2 laps of undercut has done for Muller. He's stuck behind Darren Lobb at the moment, though, so maybe this will hold him up a fraction, and that won't be ideal. Of course, Blacklock, his pit box all the way down the end of the lane, just like Muller's was, will mean that he'll be able to get going as a little... Actually, no, that's a perfectly good line into the final corner. Just waiting for Blacklock's stop time. It's ticking up now. I reckon here Muller's going to get the jump.
Yep, he is. There's Blacklock there, isn't it? Yep. He's
just leaving the pits now. The undercut has worked very nicely for Ryan Miller to the tune of several seconds. So, okay. And it's only 2 laps undercut too. So, like, the big thing for me is if this was a 4-lap undercut that had happened from Ryan, I'd be worried. But if it's only 2-lap undercut and he's got a 4-second margin as the cars get up to speed and sort of equal out here as we come through the inner loop chicane, the bus stop as it were, I would argue that I actually now would say Ryan's in a better spot than I thought he might be. We'll have to watch as the lap times come in now post pit stop. Trying to get past Darren Lobb though, and he's finally found a gap up the inside to make that one work. So that has cost him a couple of tenths, I think. Whether they become critical or not, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, only a 1/10 of a second between them on stop time, so that was all undercut, unless Sam or someone was much slower getting into the lane, but I don't see how that would be. And I always noticed Dyson, 2.5 seconds less in the box, 2.5, 3 seconds less, so not sure, maybe he's miscalculated or he knows something the other 5 in the front don't, but we'll have to wait and see how that turns out for him.
You just brought up the box time. I actually would strongly recommend, as Capel's going to come into the lane now as well, when we get a chance, you're going to want to put up the pit lane times. I've just done that myself and discovered a very critical bit of information there, which explains what's happened. and hopefully we'll get a chance to hear more about it after the race. Capel is rolling, and this is what we're expecting. There you go. Lockie Capel staying out long with about the same stop, has come out in front of Ryan Muller. We're talking millimeters, and Muller's got the speed to make the run. He gets underneath him, gets a touch in the bumper as we come up the top of the S's, and gets the ERT Mustang slightly loose. He backs off this time into the chicane. The critical answer there is, I don't know why, but Sam Blacklock's pit lane time, is about 4 seconds longer than either Capel's or Muller's. So he's made a mistake on the way in or through the pits that has meant that it's blown up his time in the lane and lost him the ground. As you can see, though, he's closing the margin rapidly here on these first flying laps since he's come out of the pits. So the man's got something to prove. He now has, of course, Capel as another driver in this battle, which might check up Muller too. We're back on for a three-way fight, folks. We've still got 15 minutes, or 14 minutes of racing, I should say now, plus whatever remains of the final lap when the clock strikes 0. So we are not done with this podium fight by any stretch. Connor Nixon, the only car it looks like left to pit in this race, is going for the very long overcut strategy. Cars he was fighting with earlier on, Dyson pitting lap 11, and Mackenzie Stewart. So he's picked up a 4-lap. No, he's going to make it a he's going to make it a 4-lap overcut to those drivers, and that's going to be important in the later scheme of things, I think. Probably now, I'd be saying 4 laps. Yeah, now's a good time to probably come in. You don't need to run this thing all the way to its extremity, although in saying that, 15 laps, that's about how long I said you can, based on my fuel burn, you can run this car. So I would think he'd be coming in end of this lap purely for fuel at this point anyways. Ben Woods on the tow rope in the 00 Mustang as we pick up Dale Sharp versus Ashley Dodgson, who's actually running as a different car number, 049. You have to excuse the green-eyed monster there running its authentic 00 on the side of the car, even if it's not the number that Dodgson is assigned in the session. He's going to try and run around the outside there and actually make it work very nicely on Dale Sharp through the final turn. So they'll go back to the way they were just then, as Brad Ratu back in the pit lane as well. Puts him now down in 30th place. So more trouble for drivers further on, lower in the order, outside of where we've been looking. We'll be able to find what's happened to Ben Woods out of the toe of the boot. And that is one busted front right corner for the 00 Mustang. Try and pick up, okay, so in behind Peter Pavlovich, yes. Come in through the toe. And he's going to do this all by himself, I think, on power, is he? Yeah, all on his own. It's come across violently and a little unexpectedly, I'd say, to be sure. And unfortunately, that's done his race in. He's also chosen that to not take part any further in this one here as Oliver Pattinson. Now, actually there it says Familiar Motorsports, esports on the name in the helmet, but appears to have been an update for him there. Now with WKMP Sim Sports paint job on the car tonight, as Nixon is in the pit lane and getting his service complete. This is going to be critical actually to see. Going to pop out in behind Will Buchanan, unless he can. No, he won't come out ahead once they equal out on pit exit. So he's lost a little bit of ground on these guys with going long. But now he's got 4 laps, fresher tyres. What can he make of it in the closing stages of this race? Because he's still got 11 minutes plus a lap on the board to try and make a difference. Josh Fitt, Oliver Pattinson, Lachlan Pryke. Other drivers that need to be looked at. They're in a 3-way battle that is of some note. We also need to get back to 2nd and 3rd place. Lachlan Capel is checking out ahead of Ryan Muller, and Sam Blacklock is closing in for 2nd place. So this battle is brewing in due course. I'll keep an eye on that timing tower if we cut away from this one at any point, Matt. But starting to see it here now, as if Patterson's having a go at Pryke for 10th place. side by side, actually, so we might want to cut to that if we can. Josh Fitt in the background as well, shadowing now Pryke into the toe of the boot. They'll work their way up. Pattinson, big snaps though from the rear, putting the power down. He's going to lose that spot to the 159 and the spot that he tried taking off of the 767, as well as Fitz in deep. Has to dive to the inside of Pryke, who has to leave the door open, but Pattinson, he's burned the rears off. He can't get the drive out of the corner now. It's going to be stuck in behind these two, I think, unless he can get a really clean run. Bit of elbows from Pryke as he comes up out of the boot and leaves Fit exactly the room he needs. Not afraid to lean on each other here, but then a question of whether that was room within track limits given, then a nudge. Left front, right rear. It's going to allow the 159 through. Patterson tries to wind up the run. Fit looks to block, but he doesn't get there in time. It's going to be 3 wide into turn number 1 here for 10th place, folks. Patterson on the inside, Fit in the middle. Comes down, there's contact between Patterson and Fit. And around will go the DPR Camaro. Pryke and Patterson will continue on at this point in time. And that's another set of rear tyres scorched as 159 flick spins it. Get going, he gets passed by 3 cars who are doing their own 3-wide scrap. We'll go to a replay of it here. Now, from my angle, I thought that I saw that it was Fit turn. Now, watch here for Pattinson. We just need to watch. Does Pattinson get to hold the apex? He does wash up a bit on the corner exit. So that's going to take a bit of picking apart for race control to make a decision on that one there. Back to live pitches to the battle for P6. Nixon has caught Buchanan. Can he make a quick and efficient pass? That is the question. He immediately looks. Not there, though. But he can just say, I am here, and I will look for a way past you. He's got the better exit. Possibly a touch there in the back bumper, just as the hello sign. And he crosses him over on the exit of the boot. Is he up alongside in the penultimate turn? He is. And superior tyre grip with the overcut appears to be working very nicely there. Job done. He is past. The gap is shrinking between Mueller and Blacklock. But Lachlan Capel is the fastest of the top 3. The lead is growing for the 918 ERT driver. As there we go, decision from race control. It's going to be a 10-second penalty to Oliver Pattinson for making contact with Josh Fitt into turn 1. A little further down the order, Liam Isles bumps the fence there, I think, in the final turn, trying to get past Jonathan Harris. Slow down for Mueller, though, in the battle for second. What has Blacklock got with only a 2-lap overcut? So it's not a ton. Mueller still needs to clear a slowdown here as he'll park it on the inside lines. Moves over to block it. It's still not clear. So time is running out. He's got to be careful. Blacklock going to force the issue on the outside. Cross to the inside, and he's there now. Slowdown clears. Only with a big lift, I think, from Mueller there. So that's in part, you can see there, compromise the run into the heel of the boot. So that frees up your number 1 car to potentially press the attack for the race win. But he's got 6 minutes. And going to be rough there as Nielsen, Jones on for 8th place here. And it looks like Jones has got the better run at the moment here as he's up to the outside of the back bumper of Nielsen. Can he cross over for a better drive out? The answer is not quite this second. As the lead Capel starts, lap 19. Jones hunting, shifting, trying to move the car out. It does work. Gets Nielsen off the apex through the final turn. And the defense is on as he makes the run to turn number 1. But Jones' superior drive is alongside as we get into the brakes, but Nielsen's going to hold him narrow. Not going to give him an easy way into the turn. Side by side as we approach turn 2, but being on the outside here is risky. And yeah, Jones able to just carry better cornering speed with the preferred line on the apex. Take that place away. And it's going to have to be something big from Ryan to be able to swing that one back in his direction. He's there though, so cannot rule that out just yet. See there, of course, this is one of our battles to watch. We've also got Stuart Nixon for 5th, Patterson Pryke on the road for 10th. This one here, Pavlovich and Lobb for 12th. Darren Lobb here looking to try and keep cutting his way back up the order after serving a drive-through for a presumed jump start at the beginning of this race into the inside. At the top of the boot, it's job done at turn 6 for Lobb. Pavlovich unable to offer big resistance. We'll see if this changes here. 3-lap overcut from Darren Lobb should mean that will be easy enough for him. Nielsen Jones continuing on, 5-lap difference in tyres in favour of Ryan Jones. But gonna have to see. And at this point in time, it's even for now. This Capel starts lap 20. Exchange between Nixon and Mackenzie Stewart for 5th place. This is probably where they'll end up to finish things off, because Dyson has pulled 4 seconds with the early stop. Or the earlier pace, I should say, pardon me. And it looks like Nixon's going to run out of time to close him down and go back after 4th place. We've got Will Buchanan there too as well. He's the best of the AITT Revolution e-racing cars tonight to also keep in mind. We also need to talk about the dev split here. Now, we do have a couple of drivers. Jonathan Harris leads the dev split actually in 14th place, ahead of Liam Isles. Then you've got, this is the battle for 3rd in dev split between, pardon me, Mitch Wood is 3rd in dev split, challenging on the back bumper of Nathan Michael. Once again, getting my interval readouts the wrong way around. He's got a pretty comfortable margin between Greg Heaney and Ash Dodgson behind him. Ryan Nielsen has just exchanged positions back with Ryan Jones and taken it away from him again. Here we are down in the boot. Half a lap complete, if not more. And they'll continue to bang doors and wheels as they try and pinch and squeeze each other where possible here. And this time it's Jones going to walk him to the white line on the outside. And Nielsen can't defend that one, it seems, on this particular occasion. So when it comes to elbows out, Jones would appear to have the edge. Nielsen, though, is driving it straight enough, and he can continue to press the attack despite having the older tyres. So not completely out of it as lap 21 gets underway, and we will definitely get ourselves to lap 22 and see the white flag to finish this race off here tonight. As the scrapping continues to be fierce here between Jones and Nielsen for 8th place in this race. Might want to go to the battle for 14th as well as, well, even right behind this too, but we'll get to that in a second. Jonathan Harris, 14th. Again, should be known as a dev. He's got Liam Isles. That's the class win right here we're looking at, folks. So keep this in mind. Josh Fitt looking for some outright honour and glory, but his position on the road won't change a difference about points scored or anything like that for him tonight. So may almost be better for him just to hold station at this particular point in time. Through the chicane, the inner loop. Liam Isles not able to really get a good run on Jonathan Harris, and actually loses a 10th or 2 in the process. So we're going to have to watch out for if there's a late race attack possible. 4-lap difference in tyres. Isles has the better tyres in terms of them being younger. Meanwhile, top 3 have crossed the start-finish line. They will have seen the white flag from Barney. So it will indeed be the 22-lap race that we so expected here tonight. Dyson, Nixon, Stewart, Buchanan gets us out to the top 7. And the scrap for 8th, of course. Nielsen starting to look around a little bit more now, hunt down something if there is anything. But hasn't found a way yet, just for now. Watch for the dev battle as well when we can. This is the battle, of course, that's also happening out on track here. Lachlan Pryke still on the bumper of Oliver Pattinson. Time penalty, though, coming the way of the 82 means that will affect the official results after the race. Quarter of a lap to go now for Lachlan Capel. The lead looks comfortable and in control for the 918 ahead of Blacklock and Muller. Dyson is not to be threatened by Nixon at this stage. Nielsen tries the outside at turn 6 on Ryan Jones. Surely that has just put paid to any final attempts at making a move for this position, because he now sits too far back to really make anything of it there. Capel coming up out of the boot now and onto the short section here to finish the lap. 3.5 seconds is the margin at this point in time. And with just one corner left to go, picks himself up. Now 2 TransAm race wins and a Supercars win here in season 2025D. Lachlan Capel joins the winner's circle here at Watkins Glen. Your podium rounded out by just 5.5 seconds there, with Blacklock and Muller finishing up there second and third respectively. Dyson, Nixon and Stewart. Oh, Dyson almost running out of fuel there, I think, as the gap closes down to nothing. Yep. A slow lap for Dyson, surely a fuel issue there. A little tight, but it works out just in his favour tonight. Ryan Jones holds off Ryan Nielsen for 8th place. Patterson will stay ahead of Pryke on the road. And the AM class, or the Dev class win has faded slightly, so it's going to get away with Jonathan Harris here tonight as he brings the number 74 around the final corner. And the gap is actually growing a bit to Liam Isles there, so unfortunately for Isles, the tyre offset has not worked out unless he just coughed a fraction on fuel. And now it's just the waiting game for our last couple of drivers coming around the boot before we can bring you the official race results. But well done to Lachlan Capel. Able to manage things very nicely. Goes for the longest run on tyres of the leaders, and he makes that work very nicely indeed. We'll hopefully have a chance to chat to all 3 of our podium finishes here tonight in the elite split, and of course as many drivers. Well, actually, it would be almost nice to get the same from the dev split. We'll wait and see who comes to join us from the field tonight for some post-race interviews to wrap things up here this week. But Matt, as we're just awaiting those results a little bit longer, anything off the top of the head that looks pretty strong? I do see Mitch Wood, having not qualified tonight, did end up making 15 positions to get to 18th place, so he's done pretty nicely there. As we'll get the race results up here now, and there they are in the outright positions. Of course, don't forget the points are assigned on a per class basis, so there is the case of the fact that will mean that for our dev drivers will get points separate to their outright results. So 3.5 seconds from Capel to Blacklock, who was then 5.5 apparently exactly from Capel to Muller. Andrew Dyson there just holding on ahead of Connor Nixon for 4th place with what we believe was a cough of fuel across the line there for the 000 ahead of the O2. Mackenzie Stewart started 7th, got to 4th early on, had to fall back to 6th there at the end of that race. Ends up ahead of Will Buchanan though in the AITT Revolution E-Racing 281. Ryan Jones and Ryan Nielsen's scrap of the back half of the race there that caught our attention most of the way. Ends up with Jones ahead of Nielsen for 8th and 9th, and Oliver Pattinson will be 10th on the road, but going to see him drop down the order with that penalty there. 10 seconds will drop him back in behind Darren Lobb, but ahead of Peter Pavlovich, so 12th place for the 82 machine in that case. Pryke there, as you see, across the line in 11th, with Lobb in 12th. Pavlovich will stay 13th. That's Jonathan Harris there, leading the Dev guys across the line in 14th place, ahead of Liam Isles, Josh Fitt, and Nathan Michael. A couple of our last couple elite split drivers in 16th and 17th. They were in the thick of it tonight. And you've got the Dev podium rounded out by Mitch Wood in 18th place, who charged his way from the back of the field with no qualifying time tonight. So doing well there for him. Ash Dodgson and Greg Heaney rounding out your top 20 overall there with some more Dev results. And our last couple of drivers finishing the race were... In fact, pardon me, that's actually the end of the lead lap. No, it's not. What am I looking? P21. Travis has a party. Apologies there, folks. Terry Marsh behind him in 22nd. Tristan Koch, Dale Sharp, Mac McNamara, and Edward Rollo. Your final cars on the lead lap. And, of course, McNamara, P25, last car to score points in that case. We've then got Adam Lavis with a rough night for him. A lap down in 27th. Barry Kluver, a lap down in 28th. And our retirements being Trent Allen in 29th. Brad Rassu in 30th. Ben Woods in 31st. Philip Clark, 32nd. Internet connection issues for Dominic Ferraris in 33rd, and a no-show from Dylan Walker in, well, it says 34th, but wasn't there tonight to actually race, so pretend that he's scratched off the list there to round things out when it comes to the full field of drivers here tonight. And with that all said and done, we do have our drivers who finished at least in the elite split on the podium joining us here now for some post-race interviews. And we'll start with the man who comes across the line to win tonight, Lachlan Capel, for the first time this season, joining us this week. Congrats, Lockie, on the race win here tonight. Obviously, that opening part of the race, yourself, Ryan, Sam, all sort of keeping the peace for the most part between the three of you. You went the longest of everyone on fuel and tyres at the start, and that seemed to work out in your favour there. Overcut, doing the thing that we usually see. But was there any sort of looking to make passes early on in the race that was, and it was hard to pass, or just a case of minding your own business? Because you see here, you had Dom Ferraris right off the start, but unfortunately we lost Dominic to internet problems, it seems, early on as well.
Yeah, I always know from doing this, both in officials at the start of the year and doing PSN Scops and the cup layout, for some reason this track loves overcut. Don't know why. It's just one of those things, because I guess it's pretty easy to pass. It's not that difficult, but it's just one of those things where it works better. So you kind of saw the fact that I was even able to overcut Ryan there through that section of when he pit versus when I pit, and I didn't do anything differently. All I did was kept the speed. I've seen it quite a few times in the boot layout too, where some people have gone nearly to the end of the race and ended up much better off than they were. So just a thing with these cars. But yeah, it was a really, really close battle. I'll call it battle, even though it looked like a freight train for that first 10 laps or so, because it was just who could get the extra 100th off of each other. I think at one point, one of us did a 50.91, 92, and 93 on the same lap. So it was that tight. So I'm happy to walk away with the win, considering I just played the strategy a bit right. Got out just in time, was able to sort of defend a little bit on the pit exit to then use the tyre advantage to just sort of run away. But other than that, it was very, very good and close battling there.
I've just found that lap you're speaking of. Lap 8, folks, is what Lockie's referring to. At the time, Blacklock fastest at the 3 with a 1 minute 50.914. Ryan second fastest with a 50.924. And Lockie with a 50.934. So apparently it was only the 100th digit that required changing between the three of you. So yes, nothing in it between you guys. So yeah, you made it work, and you ended up having a pretty comfortable margin, it seems, once you got back up to speed there after Ryan did his best to give you the hurry up on pit exit and really try and pressure it there. But what do you, I guess, as I said, you actually 3 laps difference to rock tyres on Ryan, and you just ended up pulling away from him without too much hassle.
Yeah, it depends how you use the tyre on that outlap. I've done it similar around this track where if you burn the tyre too hard on the outlap, it'll just suck for the rest of it. It's just an iRacing thing. And I've had a lot of practice with this car, so I'm able to figure out how to use it. And surprisingly, I think out of the three of us, I think my set might have been the best on tyre wear in terms of longevity through the end of it, which is pretty good. I'm finally happy that I've got something working in the setup department there, but it's just even a 2 or 3 lap difference makes a huge difference in these cars. It's surprising when you think about it, but yeah, you can see it through every single Supercars event that you've done, that we've all done throughout this car's lifetime so far, the last 11 months, 10, 11 months-ish. So I knew at the start as well that I had a little bit more pace. I felt like I had a little bit more pace than Ryan, or he just couldn't attach himself to the back of Sam as much as what I could have maybe done. So I knew I kind of needed to make a move at some point, which is why I did launch something a little bit later. But that's just, I think, give it a little bit of time. I know Ryan's not new to the car, but new to making the setups, as he was explaining to me a little bit earlier. So I think give it a little bit of time, and already the pace he's gained now, with being able to hang on to essentially 2 Pro Series drivers, give it a little bit and he will be very much up there.
Yeah, it's been very promising results so far, and look forward to seeing what this plays out in the season perspective. And speaking of, if we can sort of turn our attention to what comes up in the next couple of weeks, first of all, with, as you mentioned, Pro Series, you'll be busy on weekends. Does that mean we'll hopefully be seeing more of you here as maybe some extra racing seat time on Wednesday nights in the V8s?
Could do if I could do the double with late model stocks, and then this like I've done tonight. It's not too bad of a thing to do. It's just depending on track choice and whether or not I've got something that I can work on with setup. But I'll try and see if I can make a couple more rounds. So it depends on the tracks.
Okay, so in that case, looking at the calendar here now on screen, Algarve is the scheduled track next week, which is not something that's seen a lot of regular rotation, and therefore that sounds like to us that might be a track we might miss you at then in that case. Belle Isle in 2 weeks and Sandown in 3 weeks. However, I get the feeling perhaps those two might be more likely candidates in that case.
Yeah, that would definitely be the case, especially for Sandown, because if I think that times itself right, that's basically right on... Yep, that's right on Pro Series weekend, so that would definitely be one that I do.
All right then, well, fingers crossed. See you out in track and get some more laps in, because there was some good racing out there tonight. Actually, if we could double back to the late model stocks, TransAm racing, as it were, tonight. Why did we lose you from race 2? Was it a case of jumping over here to qualify and spend some more time around here tonight for the V8, or was there something else that had to take your time away from the sim?
The food was ready on my table.
That's taking time away from the sim, and fair play enough. But fair enough then. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. Well done once again, Lockie. Floor's yours. Who would you like to thank for shout-outs here after getting the win?
First of all, shout-out to Ryan and Sam for very, very good and close battling for that race. Shout-out to Evolution Racing Team, because back when we did Watkins Cup, Egg cooked up a very, very good set that I've made a couple adjustments to for this track layout in particular. So shout out to them for working very early on that set in the earlier part of the season. And then shout out to you guys putting on the broadcast, and GSRC generally for putting on events like this pretty much every night of the week, which allows anyone to sort of jump on a race.
There we are, race winner here in the V8s at Watkins, Glen, but also race 1 back at Sebring in the TransAms. Lachlan Capel, thank you for joining us and for having the chat. We'll turn our attention to the man who ended up second across the line, the number 1, Mr. Sam Blacklock. This time, Sam, no controversy to speak of here at the Glen, with the exception of what happened that caused you to lose 4 seconds in the pit lane tonight.
Oh, just, yeah, good old talent failure from myself. Yeah, pretty pissed at myself for that. You know, I still think it would have been a good fight, but you know, I think I lost 5 seconds in the lane and finished 3 seconds behind, or 3.5 behind Capel. So yeah, great way to piss away a win. But look, at least if the car that won had a few sponsors I've worked with in the past, and you know, Capel was pretty quick, and you know, we had an awesome scrap. You know, basically having qualifying lap battles there at the end of that first stint, and yeah, just crazy how close we both were on completely different setups. So yeah, pretty bummed about it, but still a good result, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I guess that's the important things to take away from it, at least. So glad to hear you agree by the sounds of it there. And we've actually got the replay footage back up here. We can actually see in the first part of those, you had just a little bit more of a gap there back to Ryan and Lockie. And obviously, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day when we're talking about issue in the pit stop means you had to work your way from a couple of seconds back. Pardon me, yes, just for noticing some of our messages that have been coming through here tonight. It looks like you're apparently in the sim bin, and no beers for you apparently is the comment. Sam, so
Yeah,
you're going to have to save them for another time.
slight problem, Dan. No one's here to stop me, so unlucky, guys.
Yeah, okay, right, fair enough. I guess that probably is a bit of a tricky thing. So yeah, look, 3rd place on points last week after everything was all said and done. You'll get 2nd place on points tonight, so it's still looking like a very good start to the season when it comes to possibly going for just getting more seat time, possibly looking here at a 3rd GSRC Supercars championship in a row. But Algarve.
Sorry to Adam Reynolds you there, but this will be number 4.
Yeah.
If I can pull it off. But look, it's a long way to go, and hasn't been the most ideal start. Let's just say that.
Yeah, well, look, it clearly is on me to actually talk some actual truth into the world rather than talking absolute nonsense. And I have proceeded to do exactly that. So yes, you are already 3 in a row here on Wednesdays at the GSRC, and yeah, probably feel free to correct me on those kinds of points, given that. But let's talk this season. Let's talk next week. Algarve is the circuit we'll be going to at Portimao. It's not a track that has seen a lot of V8 usage before. It could be an absolute tyre killer. In saying that, I am pretty certain we've seen the Gents race there before. I'll have to actually go and look to try and find the proof of that point before I say any more. In fact, pardon me, I'd like to actually just go see if I can confirm that. Was it season? Not this year. Okay, so I would have to go. I'd have to rewind the clock into like the Gen2 era possibly to find it. In which case, it's a completely different kettle of fish. So it'll be the first time seeing the Gen3 cars race there. Could be a tricky track. Any thoughts? Any experience with a car like the Supercar at a circuit like at Algarve or anything of the sort? Or is there other tracks that you can take the experience of racing this car out that might be applicable?
I'm not too sure. I was initially going to miss this event, next week. I was meant to be going to a gender reveal party. Unfortunately, I found out that everyone's going to be wearing clothes, so obviously no point going. So yeah, obviously, look, we'll see. I think, I'll jump on Wednesday afternoon and have a tinker with the set and see what it's like there. I've never actually raced on that track either. I do own it. Thanks to Sam Blacklock Media. Don't tell my accountant. Yeah, look, it'll be really interesting. Like I said, never driven it. So yeah, there'll be a lot of learning going on, and hopefully some racing just as good as what we saw tonight.
Yep, that's always the goal. Maybe we can drag Tyson Broad out of the FIFO dungeon. He might come up and have a song and dance because he does seem to love Algarve in other cars, so maybe it'll click for him there too. But let's sign off there for tonight, and we'll see how things go then. Floor's all yours. Anyone you'd like to thank, shout out before we let you go for tonight?
Yeah, just a big thanks, obviously, to my teammates for rocking up and having a crack, even if some of them had issues. And yeah, also a big shout out to Capel and Ryan. That was awesome fun. And yeah, look, it's just great when you've got 3 cars all having a scrap like we were, all so close on pace. It's what you want when you're racing on the Wednesdays. So yeah, and also just lastly, a big shout out to our team engineer, Sam Blacklock. He put the setup together tonight somehow, and it kind of works. So yeah, big thanks to him.
Interesting way to thank yourself, Sam, but glad to hear it. And thank you for joining us here tonight to talk about the race from your perspective. And hopefully, yeah, we'll see you out on track next week. But we will hear about it. You know, we can leave it there. Thank you very much. That leaves us one final driver from the podium here tonight. Looks like our final driver to talk to this evening at this stage. Ryan Muller is going to back up the race win last week with a P3 here tonight at the Glen. And another scrap of a race that really wasn't decided till the very end of it there, Ryan. Choosing to pit early, though, which, as we've heard from Lockie in particular, but Sam did sort of comment on it there a little bit, bit of an interesting strategy call. Looks like it didn't work out for you tonight.
Yeah, it was good racing all night. Really happy to be at the front with these 2 awesome blokes. And yeah, I tried to pull an undercut just to try it. I've been trying to stop doing that because the tyres on these just leave the car within a couple of laps, and then the pace just drops. But it was that close that I just wanted to get out and see if I could gain any little bit, because it was literally all we needed was a little bit each to get in front of each other. But yeah, I tried it, didn't work out. The pace wasn't too bad after the front 2's tyres dropped off, but yeah, I made a little mistake letting Sam pass after I got a slow down. So yeah, but I'm still pretty stoked with P3.
Oh, look, 100%. You do not. Yeah, I think certainly plenty of good things to take away from tonight. And at the end of the day, it's one of these things where, like, there are some tracks where the undercut does work. The general rule of thumb has been that the overcut generally is stronger, but we're also only talking 2 to 3 laps, and you're still pretty close by the end of it all. So one thing going slightly different tonight, and I reckon, yeah, we could have been talking another even better result once again. And it was almost a roll of the dice kind of thing. But as you said, like, yeah, the racing looked great from our perspective in the broadcast. Watching back the replay here from the first part of the race, maybe a little, definitely looks like they're sitting 3rd for a bit. You're sort of able to be patient and make that sort of work to your advantage. Was that a case of just sitting back and minding your business for the first couple of laps? Or was that more a case of waiting for a little bit and then trying to find something? And maybe it was with how even it was between you guys, it was kind of tough to find something to really make a difference out on track.
Yeah, the start was pretty good. I just tried to sit behind Sam and just see how it played out, and then Lockie was like on my ass 24/7, so I wasn't driving to the point where it would just ruin the tyres. But as soon as Lockie got close to me, I wasn't going to fight him. I was just going to push him and see if we could catch up to Sam out the front. But yeah, it really depends. I think a lot of it's to do with track position, and especially what track it is with undercuts and overcuts. Like, it was really close between Lockie and I on the exit. I tried to get him, but it's hard to pass, especially in the first sector, unless you're alongside a car. But yeah, it was that tight between us that, like, anyone could have won, anything could have happened. But I'm just glad it was really clean and good fun with these 2, and hoping to do it again next week.
Yeah, fingers crossed indeed that at least see Sam back. It sounds like unfortunately we won't have Lockie next time out, but nevertheless, Maybe also, yeah, have drivers like Cam Jones back and maybe some others. Pretty neat indeed. So yeah, speaking about next week, Algarve, Portimao, not a circuit the V8 has seen a lot of racing at. Has there been any exposure for you to the V8 at Algarve, or will that be a new experience for you too? And either way, whether it's you've got something to work off of or completely fresh, what are you thinking about what that combination is going to be like next week?
I feel as if it's going to be very high deg at that track, just as it's in Portugal. I think it will be quite hot, but I don't even have the track. I haven't even bought it or done a single lap there, nor have I done any Gen2 laps of setups really, apart from around Bathurst. So it'll be a bit of a learning curve. I know the track off by heart. I've done it on other games, just not with this car. I feel as if I can get the setup in the same sort of window it was tonight. I think I'll be alright, but it'll be fun learning a new track, especially in this car. But yeah, I reckon making the setup perfect is what's going to benefit the winner or the podium at the end of that race.
Yeah, as much as how you drive the car and what you can get out of it is one thing. Setup does seem to make quite a bit of a difference to the ultimate potential as well. So, yeah, fingers crossed that yeah, what we see out in track, yeah, will reflect what the good stuff we've seen so far at the top end of town. But before we let you go, Ryan, floor's all yours. To any shouts or thanks? Who is there that you want to let everyone know about to help you get it done tonight?
I'd like to thank all you guys for putting on the good races. I'm probably going to keep turning up because I'm really enjoying them so far. Everyone at PER for the awesome support. Lake Edge Holiday Units, Majors Garage for the awesome setups. One Shot Pest Management, Track Racer, 8 Rivers Photography, our partner NW Energy Drinks, and Sam and Lockie for the awesome racing tonight.
There we are, Ryan Muller, third place here tonight at the Glen. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you to Lockie and Sam. Actually, you're still here, but I guess waiting to sign off here because it looks like we have nobody else joining us. Matt, any final questions or comments you wanted to throw these guys' way before we wrap up for the night as well ourselves?
No, I think you got it covered pretty well there.
All right, then. Well, in that case, it looks like we'll be drawing things to a close. Looks like Adam Latis is still finishing up the scoring sheets, so we'll have to come back to those next week by the scheme of things. And in that case, turn our attention to what's coming up this week for the remainder of the week on the platforms of the GSRC and into early next week, if we've got those ones here as well. So we'll return broadcast tomorrow night. Of course, you'll be in the hands of Daniel Corriosar and Zach Cabin for the Disruptive Labs GT4 Challenge as they take to Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta for 40 minutes of action. You can catch the green flag at 7:45 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, thanks to the time zone change now, folks. So make sure if you're in Queensland or the NT or WA to roll that clock back an hour relative to the Eastern Coast. And then following up GT4s, the return of the Pantech Industries Porsche Cup is taken to the Hockenheim Ring for a sprint round, 9 laps, opening race, 15 laps, race 2. So not unlike what we saw in the Transams here tonight. That'll be green flag at 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time tomorrow night. And qualifying for those 2 sessions, well, for the GT4s, it kicks off 20 minutes before green flag. And you've got 12 minutes of qualifying for the Porsche Cup car. So if you want to get in and race, make sure you're in by about 7:25 p.m. AEDT for the GT4s and about 8:45 p.m. for the Porsche Cup cars for those 2 races. On Friday night, we have just the one broadcast event, which will be the Disruptive Labs Road to Indy Next. But before that, there will be the Skip and Slide series with Circuit Gilles Villeneuve hosting 2 sprint races in that Skip Barber. 15 minutes for the opening sprint, 25 minutes for the second sprint, with a bit of a partial invert there as well. That'll kick off at 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time for the races. Get in 10 minutes earlier than that for qualifying on that one. And with the Indy Next, green flag at 8:45 p.m. for 155 laps or an hour and 5 minutes around. Iowa Speedway, qualifying 10 minutes before that scheduled start time there on your screen, so 8:35 p.m. AEDT for that. And in between, skip and slide, or actually, pardon me, it'll be probably sometime after Indy next, because we only have the one race broadcast on that Friday night. Check out the wheel spin for what will be the next week's car of the Mountain Men 200 series. It'll be 32 laps around Bathurst, an hour of qualifying from 7:30 p.m. AEDT, and then kick off the race at 8:30 p.m. There's also 2 competition cautions, so something a little more casual to have a play around with on a Saturday night if you're so inclined. That's the end of this week's action for week 2 at the GSRC. When we cross over to week 3 to kick things off on Monday night, the Waste Options Toyota GR86 Challenge heads to home, in a sense, with the Okayama International Circuit playing host to week 3. You have a 10-minute opening sprint, 15-minute feature event on that one there. That'll kick off at 7:45 p.m. AEDT. Qualifying is 10 minutes prior to that, so make sure you're in by 7:35. Call it 7:30 to be sure on that one there, folks, if you want to get involved in the action. And then following up will be, of course, the GT3 series. We are covering the pro split this week from Saquito de Jerez for a 60-minute race from 8:45 p.m. AEDT for that one there. Qualifying for that one will be 20 minutes, so make sure you're in the circuit by about 8:25 to catch all of the qualifying on Monday night for the GT3s. Of course, you've got your Pro-Am and Am splits running off the air as well there, to the same schedule and format as the pros. Tuesday night, of course, is not broadcast once again, but we do have the Rally Cross series. It is going to be racing at Knock Hill on Tuesday at 8 p.m. AEDT for the first of the heats. Jump in about 5 minutes prior for qualifying if you want to get in on that one there. And then taking the Pro 2 trucks to one of the circuits that they actually race at, Wild West Motorsports Park. Green flag from 9:20 p.m. AEDT. Qualifying is 10 minutes prior, so jump in at about 9:10 at the latest if you want in on some jumpy truck action at a circuit that they are very much home at for that one there. And then, of course, coming back full circle to next Wednesday night for week 3 and the return of some broadcasting, we will have the commercial GSRC.in TransAm series, as we mentioned, from Watkins Glen, but the Cup course configuration there, so we'll see a lot more relaxed track limits. It is back to, no, pardon me, graphic needs to, will change. It will be a 15-minute sprint, 25-minute feature. As we saw tonight, we are going to mix things up a little bit along the way this season, so there's 2 different formats now. And then following that, the Trophi.AI Supercar series. We'll see the drivers tackle 40 minutes around the Algarve International Circuit at Portimao in Spain. And that gets us to another week down the road where we'll talk more about what comes later on next week when we get to next Wednesday night. And that's all the action for the next 7 days here at the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club. Of course, that's 5 days of racing, 6 days of racing action. You've got yourself 4 nights of broadcast as well. So make sure to keep in touch with us Thursday night, Friday night, Monday night, and next Wednesday night for those broadcast races, folks. And one final call out and thanks to all of the sponsors that are making the racing here at the GSRC possible. To Matt Richards and Disruptive Labs, once again, a big thank you to coming on board as our title sponsor in season 2025D of the club on the whole. To Waste Options continuing as our sponsor of the GT3 series, and of course the Toyota 86s on Monday nights. Trophi.AI, our recurring sponsor here in the Supercar series on a Wednesday night. Pantech Industries in their continued support of the Porsche Cup on Thursdays. Sprayton non-alcoholic cider from Tasmania. Make sure to grab something there if you're so inclined. Support the club directly through merch.tgsrci.com. There's some new stuff apparently just come in stock for that, for the club there. So if you want to grab some clothing to dress up in style, you know where to go and to get some of that there. And last but not least, to Flash Graphics, supporting the club through paint schemes and decals and the like for all of these series, so that the drivers can fit themselves out to support the club and the sponsors that make this all possible. But that's going to do it from us here tonight in the commentary box. On behalf of Matt Schmidtke here with the production, my name has been Danny Ammon. Thank you all very much for joining us, whether it has been live or whether it will be after the show on replay. again, make sure to tune in Thursday night, Friday night, next Monday and next Wednesday for the next broadcast here at the GSRC with our various broadcasting teams and personalities. And until next Wednesday night, if everything goes to plan for me at least, hopefully see you then. Congrats to Lockie Capel, Jackson Rehana, Lockie again, and also, as we said there, in the dev split tonight, Jonathan Harris, our race winners in our events this week at Sebring and Watkins Glen respectively. And until whether it's the next broadcast that we're on or another one of our GSRC broadcasts, take care. Hope to see you soon. Bye for now.